Hello, lovelies. I'm needing to, as always, turn the sound off on my Twitch feed first, so bear with me. I know you've all been nattering away in chat, and I'm sorry that I haven't caught up with it. I'm busy here trying to cook us something over a campfire. And because we are in Indy, the loading screen today is from Indy. It's actually from the Rockcliffe Gala. My little pro tip about red dragons, who will go for people who wear in their colours first. Definitely true. 100% legit Wurm lore. So let me turn that off and that one on. And as you probably just heard, we have Ruffle with us, who has also been chattering away in chat while I've been desperately trying to learn how to cook things over a campfire. So glad you never wear red then, Madoon. Yeah. I mean, I always wear red. So I guess they're going to go for me first. Now, what was I doing? I was trying to find the one final ingredient that I needed. There we go. For our dinner. 2:30. Can anybody guess what I am cooking in my frying pan down here? Not that it is yet on the campfire. No, I'm not having problems cooking, Madoon. I'm just having problems finding the right ingredients in my little trove of ingredients.
And yet you were about to just serve me hot water and tell me it was tea.
Look, I finally managed to get the tea leaves in there, okay? And it's going to be oolong tea, and that's special. So don't you be complaining. Hello, Mornix. Hello, Mimas. Hello, Bun.
It's like what little children serve you, where there's nothing in the cup. There you go.
Hello, Madoon, and hello anybody else who is in chat.
Hello, everyone.
Right, what was I? Right. Yes. Vinegar. I was missing vinegar. Yes, I do know.
Vinegar in my tea?
No, not in your tea, in your dinner. I do know how to make ketchup. Yes, Madoon. But yeah, if anybody can guess what I'm cooking before I cook it, you don't get a prize, but you do get, like, I don't know, shiny points or something. I'll make you a live chicken buck sound or something. Right. Oh my god, I just counted up the contents and then I talked and it all went out of my head again. 2.3, 2.6, which means let's try a couple of those. So where are you? Vinegar. In there.
Did you reach your recipe goal today, Madoon?
Oh, what was your recipe goal, Madoon? Hello, Ignatius. It is not breaded fish. And what did I want? Did I want another one? Law.
403, nice.
Oh, vinegar in tea. Yeah, no, definitely no vinegar in the tea. 403 is good.
We know how to make tea.
Not enough vinegar. Oh no, I've just spoiled it. I'm just going to scroll that up. Fish without chips. Well, you're getting close. And I need just one more of those, I think. And then
I just had chips for real.
Hopefully.
And we did have some ketchup with it.
Well, funnily enough, because you told me you were going to have like fish and chips for tea, and I was like, ooh, I could do something with that. But there's now too much vinegar in it. I have drowned it, so
too much vinegar in real life.
Yeah. Am I finally there? Is that finally it? Yes, I think it is. Oh, has anybody got it yet? No, it's not fish and chips. It's not fish and chips, but it's close. Bun's got it. It's fishy fingers.
Ooh.
Hi, Sensei. Well, I was going to do a live bok chook sound, but now that somebody's done one, do you still want a live one, Bun? You got enough of them the other day, I think. Right, so hopefully, what would really help, of course, is if I put my frying pan on the campfire instead of on the ground. So let's let's do that. I was just hooray! I don't know if anybody's ever actually like played around with campfires before, but I was I was delighted, I'm going to just come out of third person, I was delighted to discover that when you put a teapot on a campfire, it actually puts it on a little grill over your campfire. And if I take that tea back out, because that is definitely past the point of being ready to serve, now it's showing my little frying pan on the fire, and I just thought that was adorable. You're going to save it for a rainy day, Bun? Or the off-brand sea fingers, Ignatius. That sounds awful. Hi, Calvert. Don't tell her to hit me with a pan. Yeah, I didn't know that either, Sensei, until I was like, if I'm going to go on camping adventures, I want to cook over a campfire. And so then I started experimenting, and I saw that these animations changed. I was like, that's adorable. Now we got to do it. So I've even got little cups here on the side for us, Ruffle. However, I don't yet know how much tea. I think there might be enough for one of us. Which one's that? I don't even know.
Sniff the tea? Is that? It's gone from hot water, and I've been downgraded to just sniffing the tea now.
Oh, shut your face. Right. Stop your whinging and have a cup of tea. And that'll keep you quiet for a bit while I cook your dinner, ungrateful woman.
As long as I'm not for dinner, then we're good.
You are not for dinner, no. Let me now just check that it is actually doing that. Yes.
Like, I think Calvert will understand why I'm concerned after your stream last night.
What? I was very clear.
I'm entirely sure that it's safe to let you, like, get me lost in the woods somewhere.
I was very clear on the stream last night. It's only Calvert that I'm violent towards.
So if I don't come back, everyone, it was Crim.
Oh, Madoon, the key ingredient in your curry is humanoid meat. Well, maybe you should be worried about your neighbours, Ruffle, than your camping partners. I know, Mornix. Like, that's a proper size cup. That's almost a litre of tea right there. Like, that's my kind of, teacup size. You did teach me the recipe yesterday. That's true. So I could one day cook us some cannibal curry on one of our backpacking adventures, perhaps. And there we have it. There's a fishy fingers, which I have never cooked before. Oh, wait, where did she go? Where did she go? Is she? Are you playing hide and seek? Where did she go? Who saw her? Where did she?
You start talking about cannibal curry.
You vanished. Wow. Okay, fine. I'm just gonna assume you are not creeping up behind me. Oh, Bun, you still forgot to buy your soda. No soda for you. Disappearing dinner guests. I didn't eat her. For anybody who is wondering what we're on about, I had a bit of a violent day yesterday, mostly accidentally. I mean, the violence towards Calvert was absolutely intended for the most part. But on Wurm earlier in the day, we were playing around with sorcery, and we discovered something very, very bugged, which proceeded to almost kill both players, well, toons and pets. So that was not very good. And then Calvert and I streamed Medieval Dynasty in the evening, and I killed him accidentally. I mean, the beating him up was on purpose, but the final killing blow was definitely an accident. And if Ruffle sends you a video which makes it look like I turn around and deliberately smack him on the head when he's got his back to me and suggests that I'm fibbing about that, I'm just saying you should take that with a pinch of salt, because Ruffle can't be trusted. So that was my second almost massacre of the day. And then I was doing so well, I decided to go 3 for 3, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, one of my cats, whilst trying to snuggle up close to my face whilst I was, like, falling asleep, spooked herself, launched off, and I ended up, like, with blood all over the bathroom, all over the bed, all down my face, all down my front. So it was like 3 murders. 3 murders in a row yesterday. I was 3 for 3. And Moomin believes more in the Ruffle media.
You did set your warg on me today as well.
I did not set my warg on you. But my warg did go after you, and I'm very sorry. I didn't know it would do that either. Maybe it's been a whole weekend of it, so maybe the murder isn't over yet. Maybe Ruffle should be worried. Has she reappeared yet? Yes, she has. Ha! Fool. Fool. I was going to slap you, but I like you. You can have a kiss instead. Right.
Thank you.
Oh, you can also now have your fishy fingers. You're welcome. Ooh. Quality 90 fishy fingers as well. Get a load of that. I know. Fancy as anything.
You didn't eat and everything, just like you told me.
No, I did not pick up his corpse and eat it. Alas, in Medieval Dynasty, you don't get corpses. We were house building together, and he just kept running in front of my hammer. I mean, actually, we were building a hen house, strictly speaking, not a house, but But it was quite funny, and Ruffle clipped it. So if you want to see the accidental murder, I'm pretty sure it's now a clip that's available on Calvert's Twitch channel. We did try beating each other up right at the end of the stream as well, just after we'd saved and somehow managed to throw ourselves on the floor, and we just didn't get back up. So all in all, it was a pretty accident-prone couple of days. Now, I'm just going to do one more of these because I do also need to eat. Don't put it in the teapot, Crim. We're going to have a load of these water sounds. Really sorry, guys. 2, 3. Currently I'm cooking vinegar. So some ketchup. We want some salt. We want some fat. And some breadcrumbs. And one of my fishy fillets. And the rest of those can go back in there. I even brought cake if we get snacky later. I've got cake, I've got ice cream in here, I've got humbugs. All, no trail mix. This is glamping. It's fancy snacks only on our cross-country adventures. And I got hot chocolate as well, just in case my tea didn't work. Ruffle's gone very quiet. Do you think she snuck away?
Ooh.
Hello, donkey. Oh, Hi, Wolfmeyer. Hello. If I've missed anybody else in chat, I am very sorry. Hello, everybody who's joining. Mima says that Ruffle Media sounds like a tabloid paper with juicy gaming disasters. It does, doesn't it? You know what? Ruffle's just set herself up, finally, like a Wurm Instagram after all of these years of playing Wurm. So, I think maybe you should change that to Ruffle Media. I think that should be the Wurm tabloid. That should be the filthy press of Wurm. Hens are people. Hens are people, Mornix. Absolutely. There's now a fish swimming around without any fingers. That's a pun, Wolfmeyer. God, not you as well. I've already got bun punning. So, hopefully. Oh dear. Items in it do not make any known recipe. What did I... Oh, that's because it's already cooked. I know what I'm doing. Let's eat that. Can I be bothered to make my own tea? Well, you know what? We've still got to tell you what we're doing here. So, if I can just get my shit together quickly, I will start brewing myself some tea, and then I'll tell you what we're actually doing over on Indie. So, where's my oolong? Oolong?
Moo mix.
Moo mix. I thought you were about to respond with moolong.
Moolong. Yes, I would like moolong tea, please.
I would like moolong tea too. Is that just oolong with milk in? Oh no,
Yes.
That was a pun! No, nobody saw that.
I feel like if you do a pun, then you probably bun something. If you do a pun,
Everybody gets 5 minutes of free puns, and I don't get to finger wag at all if I accidentally pun. Oh, catch up, brain. Right. Okay. I'm just gonna put some of that in there. How much more do I need? 1 or 2, maybe? Can't remember. Whoa. What are you... That was a very big sound for you putting the mug back down.
it's like Thor, isn't it? I like this drink. Another.
Oh, still not enough water. Outrageous. How about now? Okay, that's going to make me some oolong. Brilliant. So, however long into stream we already are, we are on Independence, and Ruffle and I have been talking for a little while about doing some kind of backpacking adventures, although strictly speaking we're calling them glamping adventures because we ain't backpacking, we're taking a cart. And we wanted our fancy kit. We didn't want to be like I said, eating trail rations, and oh, there's my tea. My tea's done. Eating trail rations and sleeping in the rough or whatever. So we've between the two of us,
sleeping in the rough. Thank you very much.
Definitely not sleeping in the rough. Ruffle. So we got ourselves some fancy tents that we painted, and by painted I do of course mean colour-rooned, because you can't paint tents. But for anybody who was disappointed to discover that you can't paint tents, you can slap colour-roons on them. And it's a little bit of a gamble because whatever you put on there is going to blend somewhat with the orange colour that tents start in, but you can still get some pretty good effects. So
mine is the emergency colour, because the first lovely, what should have been a lovely green colour that I tried on mine, it just looked sort of like vomit. It was horrible.
Oh yeah, it came out an interesting colour.
It came brown green. It was horrible. It was really horrible.
So bear that in mind. Bear that in mind if you're ruining your tents, because colour-roons are expensive and tents are very orange. And you need to account for the orange. I'm still kind of amazed, to be honest, that this one came out as green as it did.
It's lovely.
But I think this was like a kind of a cyan rune. So there you go. This one was a 24, 222, 250. And as you can see, we've got our fancy little chairs. We've got stools. We've got I didn't like my lantern. We've got our bedrolls. And what I'm going to try and do on each one of these, assuming that I do enough prep in time, is see how many different things I can cook over a campfire, because there are an awful lot of things in the game which can be cooked on multiple things, but you will only, the first time you add it to your recipe book will only tell you the receptacle that you cooked it in. So each time that you cook it in another cooker that it can be cooked in, your recipe book will then get updated with, as it expands, the things that you can cook it in. So there should be many, many more things than are in my recipe book that we can cook over a campfire, but we'll only know by trying. Thus, that's how we're going to stay fed. Oh, is that your one, Ruffle? Oh, 229 11475. Nice. But yeah, you can't control what you get when you make the runes, as Ruffle says. So it's like a lot of things in Wurm, there's a whole lot of RNG involved, and colour runes cost moon metals, which is why they're so expensive. If you've ever seen them on a merchant and wonder why they are just so much more expensive than other kinds of runes, it's because colour runes require adamantine to make. And for anybody who's ever tried to make runes, even if you've got good skills, the failure rate on runes is painful, and especially painful when you're working with moon metals.
Yeah, and even if you then succeed in making a beautiful colour, you may not succeed sticking it to whatever you're trying to stick it to.
Yep. Then there's also the possibility of just failing completely, and if you fail, the rune is gone. So if you've made a fancy rune in an especially nice colour, go and maybe ask around very nicely for somebody who's got good soul depth to come and attach it for you, because otherwise you might find yourself quite disappointed. Do you know what? These fishy finger meals are really quite big. That's too big to now stick in my lunchbox. Really, what I probably could have done was cooked us one fishy fingers and chopped it in two, and we could have had a finger each, and that would have done us.
That's the sort of fishy knuckle.
But yes, I even got waylaid from my own explaining why we're here. So we're on Independence, and we're going to go carting about with our glamping kit. Just exploring a little bit of Independence. And the reason that I decided I wanted to start here and persuaded Ruffle to come with me is because Ruffle is one of the few people I know well in the game who arrived at Independence when Independence was very first set up. Because other than Chaos, Independence is now the oldest server. So it's the oldest PvE server on the Southern Freedom Isles. And you were telling us a little bit last time that we sailed through Independence on our market hop. You were telling us a little bit about the circumstances in which Independence was opened and the kind of exodus from JK home, and I could summarise it, but it might be better if you do, since you were actually there. So for anybody in chat who doesn't know how Independence came about and how everybody moved here, Ruffle, maybe you could tell them a little bit about Wormageddon and what came after?
Oh no, well, Wormageddon wasn't
Well,
the start of independence.
no, but
Wormageddon
the
was
kind of the exodus off JK home followed that, right? Like, I mean, a while after, but you sort of...
yeah, so I mean, you know, to go really far back, you've got Wormageddon. After that, we had J.K. Home, and then for various reasons, and I may not know all of them, and it's been a long time, and I've been asleep. But some of the contributing factors were things like the very unpopular and sudden switch to it being a PvP server with not really much warning.
Story time with Ruffle.
Which was very difficult for people to sort of roll back, and so that was one of the big contributing factors, as I remember it, to them.
Imagine waking up one day and there just being an announcement on the forums being like, by the way, Southern Freedom Isles is now entirely PvP. Congrats, guys.
I was away that weekend, and then had to emergency log into someone else's computer to hurriedly build fences that really wouldn't keep anyone out, but you know, it made me feel better. But yes, when Independence opened, there were two ways over. You could sail over, or you could portal over. And my main character, Ruffle, sailed over with Ferris in a tiny little sailboat called the Tapir, which I still own.
She still owns. Still got it.
A
bit of Wurm
boat
history.
is older than all of the PvE servers, in fact. Older than everything but Chaos. Yeah.
So they kind of they sort of ruined JK Home by making it PvP, and then decided to close it.
Something like that. I feel like there must have been more reasons, but I feel that was a big one.
And then so they kind of, like you said everybody kind of had to move over, and some sailed and some ported, and they would have ported then to a start town that Independence hasn't had in a long time. So if you haven't been in the game long, the only way you'd have heard the name is if you've looked at the Independence map, because some of the waterways and the roads are named after it, and that is Samling, which was the original start town on Independence. And so you sailed, right, Ruffle, but also did one of your tunes portal to Samling?
Yes.
And then you sailed on Ruffle.
Yeah.
And those of them that sailed in, I think you guys came northwest of the map, right? Near to where Samling was, because you were all coming in, whether you ported or sailed, coming in at the same place, which is,
the top, I recall,
kind of roughly where we are. So if you have a look-see out here, we are currently... Well, I should put my UI back up, shouldn't I? That would help. So we are currently on this little bit of coast just up here.
Oh, yes, I see Nord.
Mm-hmm. And so anybody sailing to Samling, I mean, I don't know, you might have come in, I don't know if you would have come in at the centre of the map or if you came off all across this side. But Samling was, I think, somewhere around about here. I don't actually know because it's not on any of the maps anymore, but I understand there's like a memorial.
There is.
Something. There's what?
I saw it recently.
There's a what? On the map?
A memorial.
Yeah. So good. I'm glad you know what you're looking for, because I heard that the site was marked, but I couldn't see it on any of the maps. And all I could find out was that it was somewhere near, and don't get confused by this, people, somewhere near Xanadu, because there is a deed on Independence that predates the server Xanadu, called Xanadu. I think it's Gumbo's deed. And I think that is probably one of the oldest deeds on Independence, and was really close by Samling. So anytime I see discussions about Samling and people being like, how do I find the Samling Memorial? People usually tell you to try and go and find Xanadu first and go from there. So we're currently here, and this would have been about the point, I guess, that a lot of people arrived on Independence on this border, or ported straight into Samling, which is going to be somewhere behind us. Somewhere up there, and we're going to go and find it. And thankfully Ruffle's already been to the memorial, so Ruffle knows what we're looking out for, because I haven't got a clue. Like, was it just a GM sign? Is it like a mission structure? What does it even look like? Is it a tiny little gravestone out in the wilds?
That'd be spoiling it.
Okay. So I'm going to drive the cart, and or you could drive the cart. I'm going to drive the cart, and you can be like, now where was it? Somewhere around here. Just keep going that way, Crim, till we stumble across it and see if I can spot it before somebody in chat does.
fake. I was just trying to walk using your Twitch stream instead of my own Wurm window. So
I do that all the
good.
time. I do that all the time.
I look
So
round.
I'm just gonna catch up quickly on chat, and then we are going to pack up our camp because we are fed and, well, I say we're fed and watered, but I didn't actually drink my tea. It's very foolish of me. So this one's mine. I'm gonna drink my tea. We're gonna pack up the camp. I'm gonna catch up on chat, and then we're gonna get going. So let's have some of that. Back to Moomix. Memers, out of interest, did you get the notification from Twitch today that you were expecting to? Because I know you were struggling with those the other day. I don't know if you've managed to, if whatever you did has fixed it or not. What else have we got? Memers has got tons of glow runes. And then Moomin put them all over his stone statues. That's a good way to light up a road, I suppose. Adamantine, yeah, adamantine for your colour runes. There was a nice GM event visiting various historic locations. Was there Wolfmeyer? When was that? Was it a stream? Did Retro do it as a stream or something? Like, was it one of the community streams or? Love when I try clicking on maps to make them bigger in the stream. Yeah. Great, memers. So you got it both on Discord and your phone. Hopefully then that's fixed. What I was going to try and do for today, if I had time, which clearly I did not, was get our streaming Discord server set up so that I could invite people to a notifications channel if they needed it. But it sounds like you've got yours fixed for now. So, Moomin, you were also notified in due time. Doing stream viewing duty. Thank you, Moomin. So hopefully, if anybody else is not getting things from Twitch when they, not getting their Twitch notifications until much later than you think they should be or something, I mean, do let me know. I don't think it's anything within our control. I don't know if that's just Twitch sometimes being slow to send stuff out, or if it's something to do with the way people's notifications are set up. But it would be interesting to know when that is not working as expected. So the challenge is going to be with this is going to be to not leave things behind. Because I just know I'm going to walk away from one of our campsites leaving like... It's my chicken leaving like something like my festive bedroll behind. I've even got a rug.
Bedrolls are easy to get, isn't it?
Or when you've like put something down in the grass. Like, you should be able to, by the way, Ruffle, you should be able to access this cart and put things in it, but let me know if you've got any perms problems and I will sort you out. So those can all go. I suppose the fishy fingers might as well go in there, because I can eat straight out of that if I need to. I don't want that bit of fish. I'm going to be a litterbug. One of Enki's. Oh, one of Enki's treasure hunts. Yeah, that would make sense. Enki did some great treasure hunts and I missed every single one of them. And I don't know if anybody ever streamed doing them or if there was actually any kind of record for people who weren't taking part in them at the time of them, but every so often I've come across like an old Enki treasure hunt sign, and sometimes people still, like, because Enki had done some strange things like put tiles out in the wild that do a thing or give you a thing when you walk over them, and there's probably still some of them out there, because every so often I see somebody pop up being like, I just walked over a tile that made a funny sound and then it gave me something in my inventory, what the hell is this? And that's usually an Enki one, I think.
I do found one.
Have I not got a picnic basket for storing food in? No. I mean, I do have a picnic basket because, as you'll see, my usual lunchbox in my inventory is a picnic basket. But a picnic basket will not hold anything over 2 kilos, and my fishy fingers is currently 276. So until I can eat it down more, this is why I was saying I should have made us one and like chopped it in 2. Until I get it down to 2 kilos, it's not going to fit in my picnic basket, alas. So instead, well, I suppose what it could do is I could put it in my magical chest of ingredients. And that will slow its decay a little bit. Right, so rug, tent, stool.
Yeah, I remember you getting the cheese. I do, that is not.
You got some top quality bison cheese from an Enki tile. I love it. That sounds good. Good old Enki. Right, have we got everything? Why? I was going to say, why am I carrying so much grass? But I know why, and that's because if you want to do a nice little camping out in the wild like this, you want to make the one that's got your campfire on a lawn tile, otherwise you're not going to actually get to see your own campfire. So I'm just going to leave that there. I have made a little, you can't see it?
I can't snuff it.
Oh. Can I?
It's yours.
So you can't snuff other people's fires. Interesting. I suppose that kind of makes sense. What is interesting, though, is I can still hear the fire going. There it goes. Evidently the sound effect is just a little bit delayed, and now we're not going to burn down the forest.
I've got to resist the bizarre temptation to pick up that pile of grass you just dropped. I don't need a pile of grass. Oh my goodness.
Leave it. Leave it.
Pick up everything.
You still have it, my June. I mean, I think. Was it named anything fun? I think that's probably one for posterity. I would hate to use it. And if it isn't named something for fun, then perhaps you should name it something for fun.
It's interesting to see this now flattened section of coastline, because when we first came to independence, I remember walking over to sort of this bit of coastline, and it was a massive sheer cliff.
Really,
sort of went over there like, maybe I can deed somewhere over here. Oh my goodness, no.
So, I mean, I guess they terraformed up top, and I wonder if actually this is coastline extended out rather than flattened down. So. Yeah, it looks like somebody's done a lot of dirt dropping maybe, and you can usually tell by the slopes, because if somebody dirt drops the coastline out, they often don't bother to dredge it down. So you'll see fairly regular slopes. What do I want? I want that. There you go, 41. So if all of the slopes along the first, the first edge of a coastline are 40-ish, that almost certainly means the coastline's been extended out, because that's the point at which the dirt will continue tumbling down another level if you are dirt dropping. Now, I have almost cleaned up this site, but I am just going to do one more thing, because random patches of lawn out in the wild just, I don't know, that feels not quite right. I'm just going to fix those because I can. Just to restore those to something slightly prettier. I did consider, and I might still pop a little sign down where we put camps, but I thought for the first camp that probably wasn't necessary. There we go. And now it's almost as if we were never here. Almost. So annoying, Bunlows, you wish you could burn down a forest. Is that so you could deal with, is it fir? Is it fir trees that you don't like? Leave no trace. It was a regular named cheese. Except a pile of grass. But there was a unicorn running around earlier, and I think it's now wandered away, but maybe it will eat those. No, wait, unicorns don't eat grass anymore, do they?
There is a bull.
Or do they? Do they? There's a bull. There's a spider over there as well. I don't think that's going to eat grass.
Oh, that reminds me, which I noticed you didn't remind me, that I need to equip my maul instead of this bunch of flowers.
Yes. Have I got? I think I've still got mine equipped. I'm not on my two-handed weapon today. I am on my things that I'm not very good at, like my shield and my longsword. But right. So we are starting at the northwest side of Independence. I know that Xanadu is relatively close here, and how to get to that.
Right.
What's that, Ruffle? I'm
just distracting you from your very important planning to laugh at tutti frutti trees.
What are tutti frutti? Wait. An olive trees. Let's go to Bunsland and plant lovely firs as an event. Olives and the excessive orchards of lemons, orange and tutti frutti trees. I see. Do you know what? I think that should be an event special. I think maybe for April Fools they should spawn us tutti frutti trees or something. They should just be covered in sweets. I think that's a brilliant idea, frankly.
I don't want people planting thorns everywhere. My very first sort of days in Wurm were mostly spent chopping down thorn bushes and getting very hurt by them.
Did I really drink all of my oolong tea and yet still I'm thirsty? Outrageous. There's a wolf around here somewhere as well, but Ruffle, look at all those flowers. Right, everybody keep your peepers peeled for white dotted flowers, because Calvert's about to try and embark upon building a temple and he still doesn't have enough. And I also want to build a temple and I don't have enough either. So we all need more white dotted flowers. If you see any, shout. And if you don't know what you're looking for, you are looking for hot pink. flower
shout.
tiles.
PM me.
Ruffle would just yeet herself off the cart.
And I can have them.
I mean, it's true, you could shout and none of us would hear you, but what I mean by shout, of course, is do type in the chat. You can now get them on node tiles as well, but I have to say, I don't think I've yet managed to dig one up from a tile. Oh, look at the sky!
Oh,
look at the sky! Yes, 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 yes.
Pretty.
So pretty.
Oh, angry bear.
So this is the
Why
road to Xanadu. But Samling was before my time, or if it wasn't before my time, it was certainly before my time going on any server other than release. I don't even know, maybe somebody in chat knows when Samling was disbanded. I think it was a couple of years before I started playing, because I have a feeling it was something like, I don't know, like 2011, maybe? 2012? When was Independence opened?
Like,
you waving at a bull?
Yeah.
Let's ask Wikipedia.
I think I want to say, was it 2000? 2009, was it?
Yeah, June 2009 Independence was opened, and I have I think that Samling was disbanded around 2011, but I'm in Freedom. I was just throwing myself off with November 2010 that's when Samling. Oh, nice, Monix. Where did you find that? Is that on the wiki? Because presumably you would have been able to find. Wait, does Niaja go back that far? Back when Niaja was running? I don't know. Still, that's good. That's good. Okay, so November 2010, definitely before my time. So I think this is Xanadu. Yes, you enter Xanadu. So we are theoretically in the Samling area, but because I never saw Samling, I've never been to Samling, and in fact, all I have ever seen of Samling is a kind of there's on YouTube there's like a time lapse walkthrough of like the route through Samling and around the Samling area that I found the other day, which was charming. But you absolutely cannot watch one of those from. When did we say Samling was disbanded? 2010. You cannot watch an at-speed time-lapse video of somebody running around Wurm from 15 years ago and recognise the terrain for the most part. So I still wouldn't have a hope in hell of using that to try and find my way around Navigate by. So, revival.
Oh, you're ringing the bell. I wonder what on earth you were doing.
Why am I making a funny gesture? Do you know what?
Yeah.
Oh, don't mind me. That's a really What's particularly exciting is I appear to be doing it with my own sleeve that I am also still wearing, and my sleeve is a different colour in my hands than it is on my arm. I feel like I ought to be able to turn that into trivia somehow, but I can't think of a sufficiently interesting way to do it. But look, it is weird. Now, out of interest, I wonder if using something like that to ring a bell actually does it any damage. God, I'm still going. That's enough. That'll do. So, Ruffle, which direction should we be going in, do you reckon?
Well, we've come at it a different way to where I went, and so therefore I have no idea.
So which way did you come at it?
From the... Hang on, I'm like trying to look on Wurm to figure out where we are in relation to...
Logic indeed.
Where it is.
Driven well past where you saw them. You think you saw someone already? Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I'm just scrolling back up to try and catch the chat. There, and olives and thorn bushes. Oh, Madoon. Wait, you thought you saw... Wait, well, while Ruffle's reorienting herself on the map, I'm just going to go back whichever way we came. Oh my god, which way did we come? I'm already lost.
I don't know.
That way, I think? I'm pretty sure it was that way.
That's the bed and breakfast sign.
Which way? Home of what? Home of...
Hello.
Home of Bear Beer. Yes, Calvert. You saw flowers earlier, they looked pink. Pink rather than the purple ones, so let's have a look-see while Ruffle goes and figures out where she are. Those are purple, blue, purple. Goblin skulls, are they pickable? Pickable? What do you mean? As in, can you pick up goblin skulls? The answer is yes, if that was the question, assuming they're not on someone's deed. Those ones are purple. Pinky pink flowers. I did actually find some white dotted flowers just a couple of days ago on Independence, and I found them up on the green ring around Dragon Fang. And the reason that I went up to Dragon Fang is because I don't know why. I think I was going to film some warm-ups. Those are all purple and not pink. I was going to film some warm-ups for Independence, as we were going to be spending some time on Independence, and I thought, you know what, I'll go up at least part of Dragon Fang because I'm going to get some good views up there. And while I was up there, I decided to walk all the way around the green ring, go and find the point where Calvert fell off it, and put a not quite a memorial, but a little sign there to mark it, because I didn't get to do it when he and I went and climbed Dragon Fang. And somewhere I've got a picture of it, which I will dig out shortly. These all look purple to me, Majune. Do you know roughly where you saw them? He said it was right before you turned onto the highway. Okay. It might have been on someone's deed in that case. Let's go see. And see if that troll catches up with us. I can see skulking around somewhere.
He's looking at me funny.
Where did we come up? Was it up here? Nah, sorry, he's walking away. I think it probably was up there, you know. Purple. Purple. Oh no, I don't even know where we came. Maybe we came. Maybe we came this way? I think we came this way. So, what do we got? What do we got? Just as I was saying, look out for white dotted flowers. We've got purples, 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 purples. Yeah, more purples. I'm only seeing purples at the top of the cliffs. Purple, 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 purples. Purples. I'm not seeing any. Do you mean here? At the top of the cliffs? I think you might be fibbing, Mad.
We've spent the whole stream now just looking for flowers, and
we came to explore the history of independence, and instead we end up on a hunt for the pinkest of pink flowers. On the left.
I remember when all the flowers were yellow.
Where? Oh, the yellow ones are the least good ones as well. I'm always sad. I'm always sad that the flowers, when picked, don't look anything like the flowers do on the tiles. Like, there are only two flower models when picked, and most of them are the ones that look like daffodils dyed another lurid shade. And that always makes me a little bit sad. I'm not seeing any, Madoon.
Right, fingertip search of Independence.
Are those not pink ones? Which ones? No, these are purple. These are purple. Not seeing any hot pink. Purple, 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 purple. If we do spot any, I will, well, once again show you what they actually look like on a tile, because there's always some people who have not ever actually seen them out in the wild, but they should be a really kind of hot pink. Yeah, the purple ones do look kind of pinkish. So the way to determine white dotted flowers is they look kind of like almost like violent fuchsia, like really hot pink. But alas, no white dotted flowers there, but we will keep an eye out. Did you have a look at a map, Ruffle, and figure out where you came from?
No, but I think it might be south from Xanadu, sort of just like east of Revival, I think.
Okay.
But I'm not totally I'm not going to place bets on me being correct.
Okay, right. So we're going to go back through Xanadu, then we're going to go out to the south and see what we can find. Barney, are you trying to sell white dotted flowers? Rude. I don't want to know how many you're sat on. I don't even want to ask. That alone should get people planting furs for you. Just for a friend, Ruffle wants to know how much. Right, so...
I managed to botanise, or forage, I'm not sure which, my first bouquet of white dotted flowers ever the other day. Not the first I've ever owned, but the first one I've ever
got a fur, like a tile off a node.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the south side towards Revival, although I wasn't actually following the highway, so I'll just keep an eye out for kind of highway signs and keep my peepers peeled. I thought, I mean, it depends how much we dawdle and how many flowers we pick, but I thought it might be possible for us to get from, once we found Samling, all the way down to your old deed site, Ruffle, if that's of
It is
interest.
absolutely possible to get there.
I mean, in the course of a stream without dawdling.
Well, I mean, yeah, it does
But
depend
yeah,
on
it
how
should
much.
be. It should be
It
doable.
depends how many years it takes us to find this Samling.
Well, you found it before. I'm sure you can find it again. I have got total faith in you. Ah,
I
an
haven't.
unusual coloured hellhorse. That's okay. I've got enough faith for the both of us. Look at these roads. Oh, I know what I was going to do. Right, Ruffle, you keep an eye on the road because I'm currently not driving.
I've made a new friend though.
What kind of a new friend? Woo! So you have. Tell you what, let's deal with your friend. Get it. And while we're doing that, let me see if I can find what I wanted to find. That one will do.
You know, it might be over towards Rosewood and not Revival. I may have mixed my.
That's all right. We can loop back around if that's the case. If we don't find it here, we shall go find it somewhere else.
I would bet on almost anyone else's memory than mine. So.
Just bear with me 1 minute, and I will start us walking again.
Speed of 14, yeah. Well.
Just want to. Wait. Is that Bun criticising my speed? How did I know it would? How did I know it would be Bun?
I think it's a compliment.
It must be all the malt vinegar I've got in this this cart. However, Bun and Ruffle and I were hanging around at the Akashic Venora on the Akashic Mirror of Venora on Delhi after I did my Holy Sites stream back on Thursday, and I've been trying to think up interesting things that you might be able to do, or interesting mechanics that you might be able to use for things like games in Wurm, and we discovered that an average toon can drag a large cart with 3 toons sat in it. Now I just need to think of an interesting way to use this, but so Ruffle had a lot of fun, and Ruffle's alt and Bun, we stuck them in the back of Ruffle's cart, and I dragged it around for a while, and then we tested it on toons of various different strengths just to test that it did kind of follow through. But you stick like a crate in there, and then all of a sudden, I can still drag it, but star toons can't. So it's definitely going to be a delicate balance in terms of weight, but it is absolutely doable. I also managed to get.
You didn't shame me by saying that I also couldn't pull it.
You know you could pull it. You just not with the crate in.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
I wouldn't do that. But if you want to shame yourself, that's just fine. This is not. Hang on.
Disaster Wormian. That's me.
So this is not actually the file that I was looking for. But while we're here, this is how I nearly set fire to Half of Deliverance and a whole bunch of toons. So that's me demonstrating.
I don't know women, but now I need to try.
Can you drag a cart with people in it up a ladder? I don't think you can drag anything up ladders. You haul up ladders, unfortunately. But you can you drag up can you drag up normal staircases? Because you haul up ladders, and I think you drag up staircases. But you see, that's the kind of thinking that I'm after, Moomin. Now I need to go and check if you can drag people up and down stairs. I still haven't, by the way, neglected that idea that we had about, tobogganing down Dragon Fang. Now, we're not going to start with tobogganing down Dragon Fang, but I am going to try testing out that theme and see if there is something that we can go tobogganing down first to kind of test the theory before we do our grand can we have everybody tobogganing down Dragon Fang stream. But oh, I'm so close. Right, one more thing for me to find, and then we'll go again. Has it suddenly gotten really quiet for you? Like, has Wurm just gotten really quiet?
I think my Wurm's quiet anyway.
It just is. There's no ambient sound. How weird is that? Because, you can hear the cart when it moves.
I can.
And now I'm hearing rain, but all of a sudden Wurm just got really, really quiet. Right, what was I doing? Oh, yes, this is what I was doing.
I'm doing this for science, and I do like you.
Wait, what are you doing for science? What? What are you taking advantage while I'm tapped away to slap me? How's that for science? Outrageous.
The sound. To see if you could hear him.
I see. That's your excuse and you're sticking to it. Okay. I'll allow it, I suppose. I do slap people enough. But I gave you a kiss instead of a slap earlier when I could have slapped you, so, you know.
Why are we stationary?
Because I'm just looking something up before we get going again. So very, very sorry. Just bear with me.
It's fine.
Right,
I just
that can
forgot
go. That can go.
I'm not doing the fart noise. No. It's horrible.
Yeah, definitely no fart noises. No, thank you. Cue a dragon rushing out of the forest. Sign you're about to have 20 trolls jumping on you. You guys have got no faith in us. Right, okay, I've looked up my thing. So, do you want me to carry on towards revival and check that way first, or do you want me to turn back around and go towards whatever the other one was, Rosewood? Did you just slap yourself? Ruffle slaps her body and causes some pain.
Who knew that you could slap yourself? I did not until just now.
Wait. So, can you also slap body parts? Just, you know, for science, since we're doing this anyway. Like, can
I just did it on body itself, so I don't think.
Damn it. Oh, wait, hang on.
Oh,
yes!
really?
You can slap oh, you know what? You can slap specific body parts. That's bad.
This is why we're
Pretend you never saw this science, guys. Just I know, Calvin, you thought I was bad with you. So carrying on, you can slap body parts, and now we know. Which kind? I mean, you can because you can certainly target body parts. We know this from things like fish slapping competitions. But I like that you can emote at certain body parts as well. Which, oh my god, it means that I can laugh. I can laugh at your feet if I want to.
What's wrong with my feet?
Nothing.
Uh-huh.
I mean, have you seen Wurmian feet? They are a little bit weird.
If you've been looking forward to laugh at my feet, that you're so excited about it. I can laugh at your feet! Hooray!
Oh, my cheeks already hurt.
My poor feet.
Ooh, Celestial Xanadu. I think I missed a turn off for revival. If revival was even in this direction. Right, you know what? We're going to go back and find another crossroads. Because I'm not seeing anything exciting looking in this direction that suggests that it might be a memorial.
Should we go and check where Wolfmeyer said that it was?
Oh, where did Wolfmeyer say that it was? Bear with me.
Maybe. And, I should have made a note of where it was. I was literally there the other week.
For the big adventure.
Did I write down where it is?
Further west.
No.
Okay, so Wolfmeyer, you think towards Rosewood Farms. Okay.
Did I put it on my map? No.
No. Mornix, you just tried to kiss someone's feet.
What have we started?
Oh my goodness, there's so many things to try. You're going to be my victim now.
Oh.
What do I want? So if I just keep that open, I don't need to look at you and I can look at the road. Because I don't want to look at you while I slap you.
Don't look at me.
What are my options? Feet? Oh, is that what I want? Though? I suppose it probably is. I've done legs. So you can't slap individual legs. You chuckle happily as you think of Ruffle's legs. This is going to turn into a whole sapphic adventure if we're not careful.
We're going to put a warning on it now,
yeah.
18,
all of a sudden,
18 only.
Whoops. So sorry, guys, but this is an exciting new realm of discovery. Can I do it at your shoulders, or will it do it at your shoulder pads? No, I can poke you in the shoulder. But will it therefore let me do the thing that I meant to do originally? Which one? Yes! You can slap people in the face too. Good.
No.
Better than slapping you upside the head. But you've got to go so many menus in. I'm never going to be able to drive-by slap somebody in the face. You can only do it if you've got a moment to lurk. Right, okay. I deserved that. So we're back. Wicked Wench. Ooh, Wicked Wench. Rosewood. Revival. See, Revival was that way. I didn't go completely the wrong way. Oh, hello, troll. So Rosewood was actually back the way we came. Yeah. Okay. We've been down this road like 4 times already, but it's okay. We're going to go down there one more time. Oh, the options. Oh, the options. What else can we do?
Oh, thanks, Wolfmate.
Well, treasure hunt from 2015 was spellcast, not Enki. Oh, cool. You found a link for it. Great. Face slapping skill 100. Let's go.
Keybind.
Keybind for everything. Wait,
Oh,
but
this troll again.
Bun, you're gonna have to help me with you're gonna have to help me with tone there. When you say it's not that kind of like, are you saying, oh no, it's not that kind of stream, is it? Or are you saying, wait, it's not that kind of stream?
Yeah, like are you sad? Are you horrified? Please, like
did we already think it was that kind of stream? Oh. Now. Where are we still going in the right direction? Yes. Okay.
I mean, you know, there was the hot tub stream previously.
Okay, it was not a whole hot tub stream. I did possibly start.
You were in a hot tub.
I started a stream in a hot tub, maybe. I know I had a hot tub warm up. I might have also started a stream in a hot tub.
Hot tub stream.
I've certainly shown it off a couple of times. We could, though, totally have a party stream where we just invite a bunch of people over and we all start out in the hot tub and then I move everybody over to the feasting hall and serve like a banquet. I don't think it would make for great watching, though. Depends how much bitch slapping goes on.
Just a whole stream of everyone slapping.
You just need to make a drinking game of it. So every time somebody spots whatever happens, like, you gotta have the people participating drink in game and the people watching drink out of game and see how long that stream lasts. Hello, little goblin. What I meant to do if I had time, and again, did not have time, there are so many things I didn't have time to do today, what I meant to do was imp up this cart. Because I have to say, this cart is not super. What is it? God, I love goblin sounds. Quality 60. Not rare. But our horses have got enchanted shoes on, but they are speed horses so that we can take them off and I just love that death rattle from the goblins. They have got enchanted horseshoes on and they are speed horses so that... Oh! And there it is! Ruffle, look! We stopped to kill a goblin. Right beside it.
Hello.
And the irony of ironies, after all that, like, we came up and out, like, literally just up here, I think.
Thank you, Wolfmare, because, like, you sent us in the right direction.
Literally right there. So, I mean,
yes, but, like, you need to go up there.
Go up where? Up there. Up there.
On foot. You don't have to take the horses up.
Okay.
Because it's not just a sign.
This feels like a ploy to run off with my cart and horses somehow.
No.
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 Oh. You enter.
See?
He's got a pet pheasant. I don't think that's part of the display.
No, look, the original, like...
historic Samling spawn point area.
Escoffier is here.
Did they always look like that, or did they get an upgrade at some point?
No, they got an upgrade.
What did they used to look like?
They had like a blue shirt and like a little white apron thing, I think.
I mean, they are pretty fancy now. If you've never looked at one of these up close, they've got all kinds of things. I mean, they've got like dead pheasants. We've got some... I'm not really sure what that is. Like, I don't know. Is that meant to be like meat? Is that meant to be a roll of leather? I mean, it's bound up like it's meant to be some kind of joint, but then the end looks a bit suspicious. Maybe it's meant to be that. Like, he's got a proper little, like, a little keg on his back with, like, this is like a beer hat, right? Like this little keg with a tap on it. And then we've got what we've got.
I like the tap thing.
I
It's
like
great.
the fishies. Look at the fishies on his strings.
There's a great opportunity now that we've got the things that you can hang from the ceiling. We should be able to make like little hanging fishes.
Hanging
'cause they've got the
herbs.
model.
I want
They've got
herbs.
the art.
I want herbs hanging in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
See, hanging herbs, hanging meat, hanging garlic.
Very good.
Opportunity.
And this was presumably
now
back in the days when all the toons were wearing green.
Yeah.
And everybody had the same outfit. Let's go.
And when you finish looking at Escoffier, you need to go and look at this board over at the end, the fantastic virtual gem sign. And
June 2009, independence was discovered. And there you go. And in 2011, as we said, player population spread further across independence. The spawn point was moved. Oh, that's interesting. So that's suggesting that they did... that's suggesting that it was still here in 2011. So I wonder if Samling was disbanded... I don't know, disbanded and moved, or disbanded and re-established, because the date that you found Mornix was earlier, wasn't it? Wasn't that 2010? But this is suggesting that the Howl then became the first start town as of 2011, which suggests that Samling was still a spawn point at that point. Although maybe it was just a spawn point and not actually a deed. Who knows? I'm just catching back up on my chat. Something about worshipping at somebody's feet. There is not a bottom body part. No, Majun. Quite deliberately, I'd imagine. Because that would just be grounds for griefing left, right, and centre.
oh, look what I can do.
Can we emote equipment too? I don't know if anybody tested that, but maybe. Wait, who's Ruffle kissing? You're kissing the bartender.
You need to go and put his face and see what it says.
It just says you stare a bit too long at his face. What is he thinking about? Is that the same message you got?
No.
Okay.
You would really love to kiss the Escoffier's face, wouldn't you?
Hey, let me kiss him.
No, but target his face specifically.
Okay. I'm still getting the sound, so I'm counting that as a kiss, quite frankly. Can I also be rude to him? Yes. We come to this historic site, to look at like the history of Wurm and this great server. And what do? There's only two things to interact with here, and we go slapping them, pinching them, kissing them, all sorts. So respectful of us. Right, what was I doing? Catching up on chat. So you managed to slap someone's hip, Mornix. Slapping people in interesting places, wearing leather. No, Madoon. No. No, don't go there. Don't do it.
Not that sort of stream.
Goblin is marked with a red skull. Yeah, you know what? Ever since they introduced that, I don't know if they've ever done any tweaks since, but like nothing at all about any of the challenge ratings really seems to make sense with what the game thinks is challenging or not. And I can't help but think that it must just be wildly like confusing and misleading for new players when they're like, oh look, there's a system to tell me how hard something is, which just does not take any account, I think, of armor and weapons and anything else. Like, does it must take account of skills, surely? Or is it just taking account of something like relative challenge ratings? Who knows?
Come and stand next to a Scoffiad just doing a selfie.
Hang on. God, you are right next to him. Hang on. Let me just nestled right in there. How's that?
There we go. Thank you.
Whee! For posterity.
Doing all the important things here today.
Yeah. Well, if you visit, if you visit a historic site, you've got to do the. Oi! I was snapping that. You got to take the tourist shots. Get back in there. No, you definitely stood closer to him than that. You were like right up in his grill. Get in there. Da-da-da. There you go. Now you may leave. I will allow it. So do you remember, do you remember Samling at all? Like, I don't know, but I don't know if you ever really came back here after you spawned. Like, was this a place that you came to? I know you remember, I remember you telling me that you would go down to things like the Freedom Market once that opened and things, but did you ever come back to Samling, really?
Not really as far as Samling so much, because there used to be a little market at what's called Darkenstone Canal,
Okay.
which I think was probably the first canal on Independence, because it got made pretty quick. There used to be a little market there that I used to go to. But what I do remember because there were so many people all arriving at the same time. It's just that there were like little campfires everywhere. And of course, like the trees hadn't really grown up yet or anything like that. So
Out of interest, who made this sign? Who do I have to blame for this thing I'm about to whinge about? Ba, ba,
Oh,
ba,
but-
ba. Oh, wait. Do you know what? That's the first time I think I've seen a GM information sign that doesn't say... Oh, it was made by Retrograde. It's just that it's not high enough quality. Oh god, it is really damaged.
oh no.
Quality 94, damage 76. Damn. How is this not somehow GM protected in the same way? Like, does that mean all the fantastic GM signs on like the heritage canals and things are also just decaying? Good night, Calvert.
Weirdly, the fences are fine.
Yeah. I kind of feel compelled now to go checking the GM signs at like major canals and things, because that is a lot of damage that was on, but also that was a really quick repair. There you go. So it's dropped 3 quality. Sorry, my repairing is not super brilliant, but that was getting dangerously close to just vanishing. What is my repair skill? Let's have a look. See.
This one's fine too. That's weird.
That is weird. Where does repair even live? It's its own skill, isn't it? It's not in a... Is it in a subtree?
It's in the the misc one. Is it misc?
There we go.
It's
Yeah, misc.
called misc, isn't
There you
it?
go.
There
So
you
my
go.
repairing's 60.
So that is a really nice car.
Retrograde put this sign down. I don't think I have ever heard anybody call themselves freedomers.
No.
No. Like, Releasians, sure. What do people of Independence call themselves? I'm always excited by whatever a server has decided is the kind of the term for their server, and on a release it's Releasians.
I think we might have called ourselves sort of freedomers, and I think it was confusing when other freedom places opened, because but we're freedom, because we kind of call it freedom and not independence.
Yeah, okay. So actually, you probably would have been freedomers, and then when the other servers opened, then they all started kind of delineating. Grumpy old people. That's what Bordeaux. Somebody, Independers.
Indeed.
I like Independers. I did hear. Wait. So what do people of Delhi call themselves? What are you? Are you Delhi?
Delicious.
Delicious. That is so weird that was taking damage and the others weren't. You have got the cart. Okay, great. You can now drive it.
Oh no.
Yep, you're in charge. Da-da-dum. So you checked this one and this one's fine. I wonder if this one is protected by the highway protection. Maybe that's the difference. In the same way that where you find these at the entrances to canals and things. Well, I was just going to kind of wind my way slowly down, maybe along the coast, because there are a lot of nice deeds on the coast, but you pick. It's up to you. This was your server.
Yeah.
Go where you like. I'll leave it up to you. But I wonder if the GM signs at things like entrances to canals and stuff are placed in... Because canals usually have highways running alongside them, and I wonder if they're actually placed in a way that gives them protection from the highway protection stuff. Rare token here. Oh no, is that a rare sign? I suddenly got excited and I was like, wait, someone's got a rare token. It is just a rare sign that says token here. Well done, Crim. Delhi Delirious. Deliverites. Delians. Okay, so Delians for deliverance. So does that mean it's Celians for celebration? Have we got any celebration players in chat who can tell me?
Wait, am I going the wrong way?
You go wherever you like.
Yeah, but I think that I'm ending up on the wrong side of the bay. Because I thought there was a left, but there isn't. So I think we'll have to go back.
We probably want to go down. So we probably want to go down the east side of the bay, and then cross over towards yours once we get down towards. Yeah, is that what you're thinking? Because I don't know that there's much on the west side of the bay. Let's just have a quick look see. Oh yeah,
sorry,
I see. So Rosewood actually sticks out away. So actually, we do want to head down towards Revival, because Revival is the next one on the coast, and then after that you've got Celestial, which is Damona's place. And then you've got the Samling Span Bridge. But at which point we cross over? I mean, I'm just having a look around. New Ultimaris. Ultimaris. I feel like that one's.
I know the only place where you can sensibly, or maybe not. Maybe that's not so sensible actually. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you do.
It's all changed.
Yeah, you do. Give us a tour. It's gonna be brilliant.
I used to be a huge hermit, and I spent most of my years on independence on my deed not leaving.
Well, this sounds like a perfect opportunity for you to rediscover the server that you spent so many years on.
do my skills reflect those years where I could have been working hard,
picking flowers, hugging sheep, all the good stuff.
Am I going the right way? Who knows? I used to spend a lot of time picking flowers actually, even before independence. But that was back when, for gardening, you didn't have things like your trellises or anything like that. So you literally just had to kind of.
Well, that was how you skilled gardening.
And plant flowers, pick flowers, plant flowers. That was your options. Am I going towards Zand? Is that right?
Yeah, because I think we do now want to go back and try and follow the route to Revival. But even if we don't manage to go via Revival, it was then going to take us onto Celestial, which is definitely down on the coast. So that was taking us in kind of the right direction. It's just it wasn't the right direction for Samling. So you said when you first sailed over here, you and Beres spent a couple of days like sailing and running around the coast, trying to find a space to settle.
Yes, Ruffle was in the boat with Beres, and he circumnavigated Independence looking for a bit of spare coastline, of which there was none.
Because the land grabs on day one are real.
Yep. And meanwhile, I sent Raspberry through the portal, and Raspberry ran sort of towards where Darkenstone Canal now is, and then hugged the mountain in much the same way as we did when we were first on release. Nearly drowning,
As you do, yep.
And then found the little bit of land where Beresville still is and where Ruffleholm used to be. And sort of staked that out as a here if nowhere else kind of place. And then
I'm so sad for you that you managed to keep it deeded for those years of absence, and then just before you came back it went down.
Yep.
After all that time. But on the plus side, now you get archaeology tokens, which is
I
guess a silver lining. But
I don't have a reason to, but you
kind of want to. Kind of want to have it again. I think now we need to turn, because Revival is down that way. Hello, bear.
Up we go.
I could swear that bear just came out of a pen. I think it was a trap. So
this troll's
willows.
Go away, troll.
Well, I put the tagline for this as In Search of Samling, and despite the fact that we went in completely the wrong direction, rode up and down the same road that it was actually on 5 times before we found it until we got a tip-off. That wasn't quite as hard to find as I was worried that it might be. And of course, back in those days, they were single-story buildings only, so for anybody who has not been in Wurm for a very, very long time, multi-story buildings only came in during my tenure in Wurm. Trying to think when it would have been around. I kind of want to say 2013, 2014 maybe. We got multi-story buildings. And prior to that, buildings had I think they had auto roofs, didn't they, Ruffle? So they were single-story buildings, and they just kind of spawned a roof.
wall and a roof would appear.
But only if they were built on flat land, because you used to be able to build on uneven terrain, and if you built on uneven terrain, not only were your walls all over the place, but then you wouldn't get your roof auto-spawning. And there is still 1 or 2 buildings around built on uneven terrain, I think. I don't think you find that many of them, but I swear I saw somebody, like, I don't know if it was in a screenshots thread or something, somebody who
I've
still
seen
has one of the old wonky buildings.
I've seen one that has a sign saying, like, historic building. Might have been on Delhi.
So, like
Might
in
not
like in the historic city of Canterbury, which is where I went to school, there is a very, very famous historically wonky building at a proper slant. That's like there's a whole big thing about it, and I sincerely hope that they've got like a good sign outside it like that, for like historic, one of a kind, wonky building of Fable and Fortune or something. I am still kind of half keeping an eye out for dotted flowers, but only half. Ooh. December 2012 for multi-story buildings. Actually, yeah, that must have been the case, because Release and Pristine opened in December 2012, and I think they came in more or less with those 2 servers, because the first building I ever built was at Pools Closed, which is my Dunes Deed now on Release, was the Troll Slayer's Rest, and that was 2 stories. So multi-story buildings must have just come in around the time that I started in the game. Wurm 1.0.
I'm just gonna briefly go the wrong way, just so that I can say, look at these fantastically coloured colossus.
Oh my goodness!
Colossuses.
Colossuses? And a very purple guard tower.
Where's Foe?
Maybe Foe decayed. Are they on Deed? Maybe
I'm not going to go all the way over and check, but
you could. Maybe they don't like Foe. Maybe Foe's Pride of no, because there's another. Okay, so that's Celestial's Labilla over there. I think Foe's been replaced by a guard tower.
And put in a complaint.
Not everyone likes Foe. Okay, but if you've got the other 3 leaving Foe out, that's not just not liking Foe. That is actually, that is.
Well, you know what? If they don't love Foe,
Foe does not love them. They're very, very clear. If you love Foe, Foe loves you. Therefore, how can they not have Foe? However, that is some really potent coloration there, and also that is a very fancy building, Celestial Heights. Look at that. I kind of. No, we're not here to go nosing around people's buildings, but that is a pretty epic kind of frontage right there.
I see a champion tortoise. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so excited by that.
No, I'm excited by champion tortoises. Where did you see it? Is it like a pet tortoise?
It's just here.
Oh my goodness! They've got bloody champion lava fiends as well. Hi, tortoise.
Look at this. How many are these?
Hello, pet friend. God, look at the size of them. So big. The champion lava fiends in particular, I think, just like, they're so hulkingly large. And really, really rare as well. Like, I mean, I know things that don't spawn champs in the wild are quite rare anyway, but for some reason, like, champion health, I've seen champion health scorps, like, outside of arenas and impelongs, I mean. Like, I've seen them maybe twice. Exodus spawned some from mission once, and I think somewhere else on Exodus has one of these as a pet, up near the ziggurat. And I think they've also got a champion lava fiend, but I see those so rarely.
Yeah, the champ hell. You can now buy champ hellhounds, can't you? From Ao's Attic.
Ah, there you go. I had a champ hellhound for years because Bob gifted me one. Oh, I do love the tortoises' faces. They're so lovely. Like, so lovely.
They've got like off on a little animal run now. Look, it's like a little mini zoo.
Yeah. We love animals, so you spend whatever time you like here.
Thank you for
the updated link, Wolfmeyer. I should go and have a look at that later. Too spooky. Venerable Fat Champion Werewolf, too spooky.
Look at all those bridges on that building at the Starlight Citadel.
Oh my goodness. Go and have a look-see. See, this is pretty fancy, and also pretty fancy use of arched bridges, because depending on how many tiles you've got in them, so these ones that look kind of spiky, this only happens when you've got a 2-tile bridge that is an arched bridge. That's how you get that. And I've seen quite a few church builds make use of that for that kind of pitched church roof with kind of like the arch on the underside. And as soon as you go up to 3 tiles, then you get a smoother arch slope. But I think there's actually there's some really interesting kind of things here. I also really like the variegated heights of things. It gives it gives it a lot of depth.
I was just admiring the colour on those marble horse statues as well. The lighting on them is really nice. Over here.
Over. Oh! So it
How
is.
pretty. Are they lit or are they colour roomed? Important investigation time.
Well, you wouldn't be able to tell
No,
which... Oh, if it was lit as opposed to ruined, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty fancy.
And then we've got this nice...
A temple. So for anybody who hasn't yet seen a temple in game, this one has been colour ruined. And if you colour... I think actually you can dye them. I don't even think they need to be colour ruined. If you dye a temple, what it changes is not the material, but it changes the colour of the flame, which is what's happened here.
Very nice. Is faux here, or are we shunning faux? Yeah, we got faux. See, good. That's what's important. Right.
I've just responded to my support ticket from yesterday when we were all on fire. I was I'm very sorry, I'm streaming at the moment. Oh well. So I assume that this is... I mean, I'm familiar with Celestial Market, but I assume that this is also Demona's. Because I think most of Celestial is Starlight Citadel. Yeah, there you go. Home of Demona Nightshade, who you might know by the colour. Apart from anything else, everything of Demona's I've ever seen has been the shade of purple. She had for many years a deed right in the middle of release, which was lit up in these same shades of purple and pink. Whoop. Help if I could type, wouldn't it? Yes, please. And will do.
Oh, welcome to enter and explore.
Why not? It would be rude not to. It would be rude not to. Oh, you're in gnome heaven. Look at all of that colour theming. Oh, this is fancy. This is fancy.
Yeah, but not when we were all on fire yesterday.
Yeah, now they've responded. Evidently, it was not. They were not able to pick it up in time. Thankfully, it sorted itself out. I don't know what would have happened if we were all just still burning down on telly. But I suspect if that's the thing that's been reported before, they do know what the timers are on it, so they knew it would have burned out. I should put in a bug report about it later. I like the bunny ears on the faceless mask down there, much as I dislike the faceless mask in general.
This is a very nice collection.
It is a very nice collection. That is an awful lot of gnomes there, though.
They're perfect. If anyone has gnomes and they don't want their gnomes, send them to me.
Seaside. So it was a big update, introduced parapets, new animal models. Yeah, I mean, the Factional Fight Brothers have been in the game a long time, and they've done some good kind of Wurm history VODs as well. I mean, streams that are now VODs available on YouTube as well, talking about the way things used to be before they were changed in various ways, like the way dragons used to be back when uniques were actually unique, and things like that. So I bet there's actually probably a gold mine of really interesting information about the history of Wurm on the Factional Fight Brothers YouTube page. I would very, very much recommend it for anybody who is interested. I remember as well, so I think maybe what I was not getting confused with, but with the multi-story buildings, those had just come in. But I think it was the year later, I think it was either 2013 or 2014, that we were finally able to place things on sides. And it sounded like such a minor update, except we were all like, oh my god, I can finally put plates and cutlery on my table. It was like suddenly you were able to decorate in a way that you'd never been able to decorate before. And it wasn't perfect because things did keep falling through tables in the beginning. or through floor tiles. Worse still, I remember digging up like patio tiles to get my cutlery back out. But I think that must have been like, I think that must have been 2013 or 2014 when suddenly they gave like they released the "you can put things on things" update, and that was frankly one of the best things I think they ever did for Wurm, because it was just an absolute game changer in terms of like decoration, making things look beautiful and lived in and different from other people's. Like, it gave people first map ever. Starlight Citadel. Do you know what? I really do need to get back to cartography. I know as an actual thing to use in the game, it's not as super as any of us wanted it to be, because we've been asking for cartography for years. But all the same, I do want to go and do some cartography and some mapping and make some cool kind of decorations and things. I think there's a lot that I could do with that would be fun and good for deco. You lost your gnome, Madoon.
I also lost mine, so I sympathise.
You've never seen a faceless mask. Sorry, go on, Ruffle.
When my deed fell, the gnome was one of the things to go with it. Like the things I missed the most was the gnome that has my name on it, and also I had like a statuette of Foe that was a gift.
Oh.
And it had like it was renamed something that made it clear it was a gift, and that also went, which was sad.
This pink marble table is like candy floss pink. Like, that is pink.
I'm turning you around because I'm trying to see.
I like these kind of pastel colours on the marble, though. That's nice. Ah, a woman after my own heart. Eggies. Look at them all. So good. What was I about to say? Something about, never seen a faceless mask. You don't want to. They're horrible. They're horrible. It's like just.
He's fibbing.
It's just.
How's he fibbing? It's lies.
Do you own a faceless mask, Madoon? I mean, we know is Robbie wearing a faceless mask at the moment? Robbie's wearing some kind of configuration of something which is
he's got something
very strange to look at.
Where am I going? Am I going back out? Where am I going?
I think so. I just kind of wanted to have a sneaky peek,
because
Damona's a good decorator, and also a good builder. I mean, I think this design is really, really interesting. Interesting design. It's nicely done. It's got a lot of. You see, this is the trouble when you take someone who enjoys building out on a stream, just get distracted by all of the buildings. Same for somebody who likes decoration, and you're like, oh look, a well decorated deed. Let's have a look-see.
We're just going to drive through a lot of
PMK wagons.
Very confusing. I can't see where I'm going.
Ruffle drunk driving.
It's strange. I don't think you're supposed to come this way, but never mind. We have. So here we are.
Hooray! We made it. Whew. And that over there is Celestial Market, which is the bit that I know because it's on my markets thread. Ah, yeah, I see, and that's the way you would normally get to it. Right, Ruffle, I'm going to leave you in charge for a couple of minutes because I'm going to go and get another drink because I am very dehydrated and I've already finished mine. So you keep driving and talking and doing what you like. Just don't leave me somewhere. I'm going to be right back. And Ruffle's going to keep you entertained, right, Ruffle?
Sure.
Do you also need to go and get a drink? Because we could go on a break if you need a break.
That would be good.
Oh, all right then. Okay, guys. Right, we're going to be gone for literally 2-3 minutes. I'm going to leave you on a news screen because there is a little bit of news, just so that we can go and get another drink, have a bathroom break, and we will be right back. Oh, Robbie, you are there.
Oh no, Robbie. You still got that dad jokes joke book.
Robbie loves his dad jokes. You'd like a nice cold can of Coke, would you, bun? Yeah, because you don't have any soda at home. You know what? I will go and get one and I will drink it for you, and I'm sure that's going to make you feel better. So, while we step away for a second, there are a couple of Impalongs coming up. There is the Mardi Gras. Impalong has just been announced on Xanadu in February. I don't think it's had a forum announcement yet, although Bun might correct me, but there is also the Delhi Renaissance Festival, which is coming up in April. And I believe there is also one over on the Northern Freedom Isles at the same time. I think the Isle of Skye are doing another one over the Easter break. So, I'm just going to leave that there with you. Go and grab a drink. And we will be back in literally a couple of minutes. Right. We've been talking an awful lot, and usually, even if I talk for like 3-4 hours on stream, I don't manage to get through one whole drink. But tonight I ordered takeout pizza, which dehydrates me horribly, so I went straight through my drink in like the first 2 hours, so I desperately needed to go and get another one. There you go, Bun. I don't know what kind of Coke you drink. I drink Diet Coke, but I'm just going to sit here and drink it leisurely in front of you so you can think about what you've done and all of the soda that you don't have when you miss it so much. You know what? I shouldn't tease. I'm sorry, Bun. I'm sure you're very, very sad without any of your go-tos.
Oh, Bun.
Pepsi Zero for you, memers. Diet Coke for you, Mornix. Welcome back, Ruffle.
Here I am.
I have returned with Diet Coke to rub in Bun's face, so to speak.
Is that good for your skin? Like,
alas, there is nothing. Do you know what? I kind of want to now go and like use one of those like magical ink things to rename something. Like, I don't know, like Diet Coke or Fanta and something, just so I can go and like literally rub it in people's faces now that we've learned that you can interact with people's faces in the game.
I just paused because I quite like this little like dig your own section they've got here.
That's nice.
I just think
dig your own clay, dig your own moss. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cute. That's cute. I like that. So for anybody who has joined us recently, we are on Independence. We are currently actually here at Damona's Market, which is called Celestial Market. And we've been working our way down in a kind of meandering fashion from the north, because we started on the north coast, round about where the first landfall on Indy was when Independence was first open and everybody spawned into the then start town Samling, or sailed over the border. So we started up there. We went and found the Samling Memorial with some help, I hasten to add, and we're now kind of just gently winding our way down the coast on our glamping adventures. So you missed our camp setup at the beginning, but we will...
Sacre bleu! Invaders!
We're being raided! Hello, Catspur!
hello.
Lovely to see you again. And hello to anybody that has come with Catspur too. Kersplat!
Hello.
Hi, Galandria! Hello. We are, I'll just say that again then, since we've just got a load more people join. So we are currently on Independence in Wurm, and we're going on a little bit of a, well, we started on a bit of a historic tour, and now we're just kind of doing a little bit of exploration, because Independence is the oldest of the PvE servers that are still standing in Wurm. It has been open since, when did we say? Was it 2009 it opened?
Mhm.
So this server is now 16 years old. Will be 16 years old this June.
Oh.
And Ruffle has been in the game even longer than that. So Ruffle remembers when Independence was first opened and when everybody first moved here. So we started by going and trying to find the site of the first spawn town, which no longer stands and hasn't stood for a long time, which was called Samling. And we found that memorial site. We found the GM sign there on an awful lot of damage and swiftly repaired it. And now we're wandering our way down this coast, heading kind of southwards on Independence, just exploring a little bit. And although Ruffle has been in the game a long time and spent a lot of time on Independence for those years, she is, as she has said, she was a hermit for most of that time. So in some ways, Ruffle probably hasn't done anywhere near as much exploring of Independence as many of you have. So this gets to be a nice discovery process for us all. Hermits
Yay!
unite! Yes.
Hermit high five. I was a hermit for a long time. I've probably seen more of Independence in the last year and a bit since I came back than I did while I lived on Independence for a decade or more.
We got you into sailing and all sorts, and now you go everywhere. Hello, spider friend. Pepperidge Ruffle remembers. You be as lost as you like. I mean, we vaguely had a I vaguely had a sense of where we might end up the stream, but it doesn't actually matter. We're not trying to get to anywhere in particular. We're just kind of exploring, finding our way around, talking about a little bit of Wurm history and a little bit of sort of Wurm now. We were talking about Cat's Purr. How long have you played Wurm, Cat's Purr? Do you remember pre-multi-story buildings back when they were all single story? Do you go back as far as the everybody in green outfits days? Bye, spider. Cats, you started in 2013. Same as me. So I started on the 14th of January 2013. And I know that because I love Wurm enough that I put my Wurm start date on my desktop background years ago. And boy, am I grateful for it now since they mucked up the playtime readouts. I started a couple of weeks, I think a few weeks after release. Release and Pristine was spawned. Just catching up on chat, guys. Bear with me. Gives catnip to Cat's Purr.
You catch up while I just chauffeur.
You do that. See, this is why I was so pleased when you stepped into the commander seat. I was like, yes, I don't have to drive.
Yeah, I that wasn't a clever plan as it turns out in the end.
We've got our glamping gear with us, so we started with this lovely kind of little campground set up with our beautifully coloured tents, and I cooked us fish fingers, and we drank oolong tea when I finally figured out how to make oolong tea after an embarrassingly long time. And what I hope we will have time to do is when we find a nice space to stop and we're getting ready to pack up the stream, we will find ourselves another campsite, put a camp back down, and kind of finish as we started. I think I said hi, Galandria, but if I didn't, I'm very sorry. Hello to you. And if there's anybody else that's popped into chat in the past sort of, 15, 20 minutes, or anybody that I've missed along the way, please do say hi again if you think I missed you, because I'm sorry if so. Surprisingly good-looking terrain and trees still, Bisa. Is that from Mornix's one? Yeah. Well, do you know what? And I mentioned.
Oh, we're standing on the horses.
Oh yeah, standing on horseback.
There are some fantastic old. I mean, for their time, there's videos from PvP days of people standing on horses doing raids and things, which are quite funny.
I kind of do want to see those now. Look at those horses. But yeah, I was So, Bisa, before you joined, I was talking about some like time-lapse videos that I found on YouTube. I'll try and dig one out and link it because the person who made that has got a whole load of them. But they made time-lapse videos of just exploring the servers back around, I don't know, I guess somewhere between like 2009, 2011-ish. And I thought it was really interesting seeing what has changed in that time and what hasn't. Like these, like stone walls were totally different back then, but so many of the plants and trees had actually kind of already had some of their updates at the time, which I guess kind of speaks to the slow rollout and change of graphics and things over time. So the sort of the plant life hasn't had an overhaul in a while. The flora hasn't, but the fauna has. And like lamps from back then were as detailed as they are now. So we've had those kind of pretty lamps that we've got now for really quite a long time. Maybe not the same range of them. But the stone walls look totally different. They were much brighter and whiter and taller, for example. Building textures have changed quite a bit over time, of course, as we got new kind of building options. And I know things like, you know, underground housing and stuff, that came much, much later. But I just thought it was a really kind of interesting snapshot in time for Wurm, looking back on it and seeing sort of what still looks recognisable and what just looks so different. Cats, you'd like to hear how I discovered Wurm for the first time? Well, a few people who watch my streams will have heard this one before, because it was actually Ruffle, who I'm in this cart with, who got me into Wurm. Because Ruffle and I knew each other in real life from LARPing days. So we used to do live action roleplay together. And Ruffle has been in the game for, 18 years with some breaks. So there's a whole string of people in the game who actually Ruffle is either directly or inadvertently responsible for, because Ruffle brought Beris into the game. Beris brought Madune into the game, who's in chat. Ruffle got me into the game, and I then got my partner Melphis, who got Sakalwe in. And so it's sort of like there's a whole chain of us who all actually know one another in real life and all got one another into Wurm, all starting with Ruffle.
With a pyramid scheme.
Right, yeah. With this hermit right here. So Ruffle and Beris go back to like... What's that, Ruffle?
I was just like, can I get across this person's deed instead of going on the highway? Let's see.
I'm sure you can. So Ruffle and Beris go back to you. In fact, you go back before JK Home Days, don't you? Do you go back to Gold 1?
I go back to Gold 1, Beris doesn't.
You go back to Gold 1, Beris goes back to JK Home Days. They lived on Independence for many, many years, and when Pristine and Release opened, they, like a lot of other people, made new tunes to go and explore, and they set up a deed called Pools Closed on Release, which is now Madune's deed, and is, I think, must be one of... I mean, I say one of the oldest deeds on Release. Was it not a day one deed? Ruffle, maybe you remember.
Day one because Beris was busy circumnavigating Independence on day one.
No,
I did have a day
Release. On Release.
On Release, yes. Sorry, I think so, probably.
So Pools Closed was probably a day one deed or maybe a day two deed. So it has to be one of the oldest deeds on Release and still stands. And Ruffle was posting on social media just some pictures of, I can't even remember what it was that you were doing, but whatever it was sufficiently interesting that I was like, what's this?
I think I wrote a little love letter to Wurm.
What this?
I think I was all like, oh, you know, I play lots of things, but I keep coming back to this game because it means, you know, means so much to me, and it's just something very special about it.
There was a screenshot in it. I know that. I don't even remember what it was of, but I just remember kind of like pricking up my ears and being like, what this? And she told me a little bit about it. And so I found out what server she was on. She was like, you know, come and play on our server. Here's how you do it. Well, you know, you can come and join our village. It'll be great. And so I downloaded and logged into Wurm like on the evening of that Monday, the 14th of January. In 2013, Ruffle wasn't in-game at the time, so I had about an hour kind of all at my own devices where I did that typical new player experience, right? Like I went through the tutorial, I popped out the other side of the tutorial, I landed in Sloping Sands, because Release was the server that I had been told to come to. And then I was like, right, what am I going to do? I'm going to collect some resources. So I chopped down a tree, like I was carrying around all these logs, and I was like, oh no, now I'm so slow, but I don't want to drop my logs. These are precious resources. Took a while to get me to part with those, but as soon as things started running after me, trying to eat me, I think I was finally persuaded to part with them. And after I'd been on Release for about an hour, Ruffle logged in, and it was still very early days then, so they didn't have a rowboat made or anything like that, but they had got a deed down on the south side of Spawn Lake, and Sloping Sands is on the top side. So for anybody who isn't familiar with Release, this is the start town up here, Sloping Sands, and Pool's Closed, which is the deed that we all started at on Release. That's Beres and Madoon and Ruffle and I, is about here, and is still here. And so because there wasn't a boat, and I had no idea where I was going, and I was still trying to figure out how to even do anything at all in this new game, Ruffle, bless her, ran and swam all the way up to Sloping Sands to come and pick me up. And then together we went on foot and by water, being chased by like bears and wolves all the way down. Like we were running along like very rickety little bits of paths and a load of like raw coastline, and there were at least a couple of bits where we were being chased by sufficient things that the only way that we were not going to die was to go and swim for some of it. And after about, I don't know, it must have been about half an hour of travel, which now that I've been playing Wurm for a long time, that's nothing, right? In Wurm terms, half an hour of travel is nothing, but compared to any other games I'd played at the time, spending half an hour of gameplay just trying to get somewhere was almost unheard of. And at like the end of that kind of half hour, 45 minutes, whatever it was, when we finally made it safely to Pool's Closed, like she was like, that's it, that's home right there. And it had like a perimeter fence, and I was like, oh my god, safety, I can finally stop running, I can go and pee, I can put it all down for a bit. And I had this kind of palpable sense of like relief and safety or whatever as I stepped onto that deed. And that was kind of it. That was me hooked, I have to say. Like it was a pretty challenging start, as it was for a lot of people. Like I remember, my first weeks of Wurm, I'm sure I died several times in those days. Things used to attack your horses as well. I lost a number of mounts, which made me very sad as soon as I was able to start riding. It didn't have a fence. You added that recently. It had safety pens. Madoon. And in fact, I've got a screenshot from way back then. It must have been from in the first few weeks, where I think you and Beres and possibly Ruffle had just completed your first Colossus, and we had a Colossus celebration party, and there's like little cakes on the ground and candles and things. I will see if I can dig it out, because that's a charming screenshot. But yeah, so I arrived at Pool's Closed and I got a warm welcome, and they were like, you can help yourself to anything here. You need to make yourself some tools, go exploring the system, you can make everything from scratch. And I was like, I have no idea where to start, but I was already hooked. That challenging start you get through is the best way to get into Wurm. I agree, Bisa. Because Wurm, if you don't enjoy that kind of challenge about it, Wurm is probably not going to be for you anyway. And in the same way that kind of that really, really deep crafting system, which was so overwhelming, but also so fascinating when I first did it. Like back then, you didn't have a lot of the things, like you couldn't search for recipes, like crafting recipes in the way that you now can. You did everything pretty much, I think, on like right-click menus and stuff. Like we didn't have the crafting pane. We didn't have this crafting pane then. We didn't have the recipes to go and look stuff up. So you were doing all of your crafting by using the wiki if you would use the wiki. I refused to for my first year. But by trying a lot of things out, essentially, by making materials and then trying them out together and seeing what that would let you create, and talking to other players. And that kind of really, really deep, granular crafting system will make some people be like, oh, heck no. And it will make other people be like, wow, this is really cool. And if you're one of the people who looks at that and you're like, wow, this is really cool, then it's got you. Wurm is the game for you. Cat's fur. Imagine how much more meh it would have been if you hadn't had a chance to experience danger and struggle. Yeah, absolutely. It was a very bracing introduction to the game. But also, the other thing I like about it, the reason that I like this story is not only was it like, a bracing fight for survival, and then that kind of that warmth and safety of home, but also you know, I walked into the game and had people come and meet me and help me take me back to Deed. Like, granted, people that I knew in real life, but it was sort of, that's kind of the Wurm community all over. And a lot of people who start in Wurm and don't know anybody here also get an experience like that, where they meet a couple of players who will help them out, take them in for a while, or who will give them food or repair their stuff. And I just think that that's really just such a good kind of, you know, Wurm in a nutshell, like really deep crafting systems. Takes you ages to do absolutely anything, and a really wonderful community of people who will just help, who are so happy to have new people coming and joining and want to share their enthusiasm and love for the game. And it was Ruffle's enthusiasm and love for the game that got me into it. And so here's me
That was like
trying
my
to...
first experience, though, was like meeting other people who hadn't been playing that long, but they were all like, "Oh, here, have a meal," and hey, like, "You run that way, and I'll kill the spider." You know, like just that thing where you
Great,
help
isn't
each
it?
other out. So
Yeah.
anytime I meet someone, they're like, "Oh, help!" I'm like, "Here, have a horse, have some tools."
And then you end up loving being that kind of person in the game as well. So, you know, once people have had that kind of start in the game, they tend to be the players, not the only players, but they tend to become players who then do exactly the same, right? Who start giving away their horses, giving away meals, and going out of their way to help introduce people and welcome new people into the game in the same way that they were welcomed. And so that culture is perpetuated, and I just think that's wonderful. I think that's one of the best things about Wurm. As we all know, one of my other best things about Wurm are the skies, although they're looking a little bare at the moment. But
I have paused here for a reason.
so,
Do you wonder why I haven't moved?
Yes, why are we here?
Why are we here?
Oh!
We're here
It's the canal.
because this is Darkenstone Canal, which I think might be the oldest canal on the PvP servers.
So this is this just here, right?
But
Or is it higher up than that? Hang on. Yeah, no, you're on a slight delay from me, aren't you?
yes, that is
Yeah.
there. Yeah, that's where that is. Yeah,
The bit that
And
allowed
when-
people to cut through there with boats.
because when I walked through with Raspberry, when first portaled over, they were already building this canal when I came past here. It wasn't finished yet. It was still closed off, but it made me know that we would be able to get boats further into this lake, which of course when this server opened was not boat accessible.
So they were building this on like day 1, day 2.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know who it was that built it originally. But yeah, it's just a little bit for me, it's just a little bit of history. It was such a landmark for me. And I say it's probably the oldest canal. So
Oh yeah, self-care, Catspur. Like, you've been streaming for a long time as well. Absolutely. Go take a break. And thank you for dropping in. If we do see you back again, that would be lovely. But if you are just tired and need to crash, I would totally understand. It's Catspur. Catspur streams 3 times a week. And she does lovely long streams, and Catspur does sometimes stream Wurm Online, although she hasn't been doing so much of that recently. Recently, I've been seeing some of Catspur's Valheim streams. If you haven't checked out Catspur's channel, there is a lot of wonderful stuff there, going back many, many years, so do go and check that out. I don't know how... I don't think I've got a function to do a shout-out, but... we've talked about a few other streamers on this stream, so whilst I'm here, I tell you what, I'm just going to drop some links in chat, because if you are into Wurm streams or other people watching streamers who are interested in the kind of games that you are probably interested in, there are a few good ones out there that I would thoroughly recommend. So while Ruffle is chauffeuring me about, let me just do that quickly.
we were currently on a section which is Bay Hill Highway, which is just nice to have that as like a permanent thing, because Bay Hill Estates was, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, a deed that was owned by a Wurm friend of mine that I'd known like right back in the first place I was on Gold 1. And he hasn't played for a long time, sadly. How many days are we on? Still in my friends list.
Still on your friends list?
Yeah. Oh, I'm just trying to drive and look at friends list. Let's not do that.
I do that all the time.
Last seen 4,348 days ago.
Blimey.
So, but yeah, Malirak was on Gold 1 on the same little bit as me, and then lived near me on JK Home, and also was sort of just up the mountain from me here before he stopped playing as well. So it was just nice to see that the highway is still called that, which was his deed that he established on Indy. It's nice. Oh, and I did spot in the chat earlier, Beezel saying like, oh, you know, that everyone was paying me silver for me getting them into the game with my little pyramid scheme. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? I think you all owe me.
I paid
Where's
you
my
back in
silver?
sheep, surely, like all the animals that I've been supplying with. I got Ruffle back into the game, and then I just started playing her with sheep, so she has to keep expanding her deed and being like, I found another interesting animal, Ruffle, would you like it? And she's like, oh, I've got no room, but yes. So I've posted Catspur's Twitch in the chat. Go and check her out if you haven't already. I was talking earlier about the Factional Fight Brothers who've done a lot of Wurm streaming over the years, although at the moment they're not streaming Wurm so much at the moment. They did do a little bit on Guidance last year. But there's a whole load of Wurm streams back in their kind of archives, and they did some of the Wurm history ones that I was talking about, which were really good. And then even earlier in the stream, for those of you that have been around a while, we were talking about the stream that Calvert and I did yesterday, where I did him a murder, by which I mean a manslaughter. Was definitely not a murder, although Ruffle clipped a clip that certainly made it look otherwise. But if you haven't seen any of if you haven't seen any of Calvert's stuff, Calvert has been probably one of the more consistent Wurm streamers of recent years. Not the only one by any means. Like there are plenty of other people doing regular Wurm streams. I know Gaffer does them very regularly as well. Calvert's on a break at the moment from Wurm streams, although we hope that he will be back to them soon. But those of you that have found me recently and didn't come across from the Calvert streams, so I started streaming under my own auspices December of last year. But for about 8 or 9 months prior to that, I was actually guest streaming with Calvert for kind of months and months and months. So if you sort of, I don't know, if you're enjoying these and you want a bit more of a back catalogue, go and check out Calvert's stuff, and you'll find that I'm in a lot of them from the past year. He and I just going and getting up to shenanigans all over the Southern Freedom Isles, and on one stream on the Northern Freedom Isles as well with Ruffle. We all went and did some Halloween stuff together.
That orange on those trees.
I know, I love that. Which means, I mean, we're in autumn, so we are actually in flower spotting season. So where are we now on the map?
Does this path not go all the way around? No.
Well, no. Is that a tunnel through? It's. Let's hope it's a tunnel through.
No. I thought that path went all the way around. Oh, there's a reindeer here, though. So that's
my
nice.
goodness, and it's a mature one as well. It's young. I kind of want to take it home. Do you know what? I'd have thought these would all have despawned by now. I expected them to not last more than like 48 hours.
I don't know where this tunnel goes, so we should probably not go through this tunnel.
It might pop out the other side. I have to say, it doesn't look like it's going to, does it? Last Christmas's one is very funny indeed. Wait, Last Christmas what?
Can we just sneak across the sand, maybe?
Sensei, your so all of our reindeer disappeared as well. We were doing all kinds of... Oh, nice. Can we do it the whole way?
Just wiggle a bit, there we go.
Maybe.
Yay!
So Sensei, a lot of us were doing kind of testing to see if there were ways that reindeer would stay in the game. Ruffle has got a weird one, right? Because you've got what now looks like a normal deer, but is still called reindeer, which was a reindeer, and it kind of turned into a deer when tamed. Whereas when I was taming reindeer, mine never turned into deer. They always remained reindeer, but my tamed reindeer did keep disappearing every time they did a patch notes. So, but yeah, I'm surprised. So Madune, you've still got yours, but has yours also turned into what looks like a normal deer, or has yours still got its reindeer skin on? I'm really interested to see who has managed to keep reindeers in the game in some form, especially because
it looks correct. That's on release.
Okay.
And then the one that I broke somehow is on Delhi.
You saw the suicide from Dragon Fang one. The suicide from Dragon Fang. Speaking of which, can we see it yet? Not quite. Soon.
No, but we will soon. I will show you.
We're going to get to see Dragon Fang. Look at Valray. But yeah, our climbing up Dragon Fang in order to throw ourselves off the top of it. That stream, that was good fun. And we have talked since about maybe doing a tobogganing down Dragon Fang. And when I say we, I mean I talked about it on stream, and everybody decided on Calvert's behalf that he would also have to be involved. And I'm pretty sure that Bun and Myra signed up, and some other people. At some point, we're going to try and do a tobogganing down Dragon Fang stream. God help us. So if anybody here would like to join, you know, when it's coming round, I'm going to make sure it's mentioned widely, and I'll put something up on the forums for anybody who wants to come and play. See, Bunline signed up. Yeah.
Hey.
So
We pause again for a moment on our tour.
we must be coming up to your place, right? Or what used to be your place and Barris's place?
Yes. So when I first came here, there was none of this path. I had to do one of those very, very treacherous journeys, avoiding the bear sharks, where you sort of find you desperately clinging to the edge of a mountain in the water, trying not to drown, and occasionally you'll find a bit where you can stand up for a moment and breathe. But you never know if you're going to make it. Up here, you'll see ahead of us, one of the first, or perhaps the first, I forget, colossi on Independence, I believe.
Waiting for it to appear on mouse over. Colossus of Barrisville. There you go. Do you know what? All of those years when we were playing together on release, before release opened up to any of the other servers and we could travel, you and Barris used to talk about Independence, and you talked about it like you both talked about, you know, the glory and the beauty of Independence, and sort of, and it was quite hard to imagine it. And of course we couldn't visit it that back then. I couldn't visit it back then, short of making another toon. And in my head for years and years, I had it that you and Barris must live in these like beautiful, super fancy, really developed like cities in Independence, because the way you guys talked about it. And I remember the first time I came over to Independence in a boat, came exploring, and completely by accident stumbled across Barris's place and yours, and I was like, you bloody hermits! All these years I thought I like imagined you in these like super sophisticated, like ancient Independence towns.
You'll notice, for example, Barris's houses don't have roofs.
He never developed them after multi-story, right?
Yeah, when the system changed and they lost their automatic roofs, he just refused to replace them.
There you go. Buildings that predate the multi-story building update.
Yeah. There's a couple of buildings for Barrisville, and down here there's if you're ever passing through, there's some beds in this little visitor accommodation down here.
But yeah, like I came here and I pulled up a boat and I was like, it's so tiny. What is this? I imagined beautiful, grand builds, and now I know better.
No.
So is Barrisville, is this a deed? Is this the deed that he dropped when Independence opened, or is this fallen and been re-established since, do you know? Or has this literally been here the whole time?
The whole time.
Very old deed on Independence, folks.
And mine had until it fell like 2 years ago. I know.
Until it fell just before you came back.
And now that I'm showing everyone, I'm going to have to deed it again, because I don't want anyone else to deed it.
Just drop a little one down, just a little safety deed.
Look, proof that I was here, just here. I'm just going to veer off to the left. I just want to prove that I was here. It's not on any of the maps, even though this guard tower has existed forever. Here's my guard tower that I built.
Ruffle
I built that guard tower.
Well done, Ruffle.
See, I existed. It's there.
Have guard towers been in the game as long as you have? Like, were they always a thing?
Yeah, when way back when I was on Gold 1, there was a whole group of us sort of living in little shacks in an area, and we eventually managed to build a guard tower, and then we struggled desperately. I'm just going to pause a moment. We struggled desperately to get it up to 10 QL so that it would spawn a guard.
A guard?
Just one. Right, we're coming up to the site where my deed was, And I just want you to like look forwards and just appreciate this view. Hopefully it won't.
I'm looking forwards. I'm
Um,
ready.
This is where I was.
Oh, look at that. That is quite the view of Dragon Fang.
Yeah.
And for anybody who saw my the Christmas, one of the Christmas streams that Calvert and I did, where we climbed Dragon Fang and threw ourselves off the top of it, but has never actually seen Dragon Fang from afar, you really do get a sense of scale from this. Like, so that green ring that we went up to, like on that big zigzaggy road all the way up the side where base camp was, that's on this green ring here. And from there, we could have taken a tunnel, but instead, we fools that we are, decided to climb the cliff face all the way up here, up to Ignimara, which is a deed roundabout here. So we climbed this, and half of that stream, more than half of that stream, is Calvert and I literally clinging to, like, sheer rock face, desperately trying to replenish our stamina with alcohol, and every so often looking down and being like, oh my fucking god, oh my god. So we climbed all the way up this slope to Ignimara, and then from there we climbed the much shorter slope up to the very, very top, and there is a tiny little deed up here on top. It is not big at all. If you haven't seen that stream, I'm going to pop a link to it in the chat, because it was really, like, it was tense, but I'm so glad that we did it. And then having got all the way up here, and neither of us died, I even took signs. We each had a sign. I had a sign saying Calvert fell off here, and he had one saying Crim fell off here, because we assumed that one of us was going to die before we made it to the top. But amazingly, neither of us did. So having reached the top alive, we decided that if we made it all the way up there, we were gonna throw ourselves off it for posterity. And it's just it's brilliant. You fall so far. And Ruffle also clipped some really nice clips of it as well, because I went off first with my little legs just like going like this in the air, and Calvert went after me, and of course that was all captured on stream, and he got way further than me because he bounced off a shelf on the way down and didn't die on the first hit. So I think he must have dropped at least back down to this bit, and I reckon I probably died somewhere around about here. I don't know, maybe he got further down than the shelf, but I'll find a link and I'll pop it in chat, because like, it was so much fun. It was so worth doing. And if you ever feel like, you know, sacrificing some of those skills, which, you know, when you die you will lose some skills, or if you're on high enough up the path of knowledge like I am, you will only lose fight skill, but still, if you're willing to lose that, it is quite an experience climbing up there and throwing yourself off the top. It's not really like anything else I've experienced in Wurm, but if you want to, you can just experience it vicariously through our stream. So I'm just going to find that one and drop it in there. And if you don't want to watch the whole stream to get it, there is also a nice little clip. It's called, I think, is it Leg Day Goes Badly for Calvert?
Yep.
And I'm Still Falling, which are two featured clips on his thing, which I did earlier, so you can just see the point at the very end of the stream where we threw ourselves off it, if you want to kind of skip to the end for that bit. So this is quite the view, Ruffle.
Yep. So I had my place here.
But you got it was in a ditch. I'd have dug it all down for like, or I guess raised it up, maybe.
Really?
To see more of the view, but on the other hand, you're kind of hidden here in a nice way.
Yeah, I did dig some of it down, but I didn't want to be too extreme with my terraforming, and also I wasn't
Is
as
that your
good
reindeer over there?
No, that's another random reindeer.
In a pen? I mean, somebody's
Oh yeah, that's my
enclosed it.
field.
Okay.
I have got a field going on. See, my house was up here, and I had a little balcony at the back, which then looked out properly across the water.
Okay. Yeah.
I kept it high up, so I had that like nice view, and I do miss that view. It is lovely.
Now that's what I was looking for. That's the view that I was after. And one of the reasons that I've been having a hankering to come and explore Independence recently is because every time I come here, Independence has like majestic mountainscapes, like almost nowhere else. I mean, Xanadu's got some pretty good ones as well, but on the smaller servers, none of the mountains are anything like the scale of the ones on Independence and on Xanadu. And obviously Independence is one Dragon Fang at the centre is very, very iconic view. We've got those fantastic statuettes in game as well as a kind of a celebration of it, an anniversary celebration, I think, of the opening of Independence. And I sort of, as I've been getting a hankering to come and have a look at Independence and actually explore it properly, I keep being like, you know what, I'd really like a deed with a view of Dragon Fang, but I don't have a good reason to do one. I wouldn't keep coming, like, I'd enjoy building it, but would I actually visit it and spend time at it? I don't know. But I kind of feel like as we're going around Independence, I'm kind of just keeping my beady eyes open in case I see somewhere that I'm like, oh, that's a really good view. I could build something there. I might even come back and visit it. But you clearly,
a good view.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to come and deed your old deed. But that is indeed a very good view.
In the other direction, it's still pretty. There's like, you still got all the landscape going on. But yeah, the reason that we put our deeds here is because this is sort of like an island, but connected to the land, because it's just like a little sticky out bit on the side of a mountain.
Yeah, you get sort of a lot of the benefits of island life, and you've got coast on 3 sides, but also road access to the rest of Indy.
I mean, there didn't used to be
roads. In a roundabout way.
There was no roads for a long time. If I wanted to go anywhere, I had to get a boat.
Can you swim across from here? I'm not sure that you would want to.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Maybe.
You can now, because people have since connected the land. I'm just going to go look at that reindeer and see if it's my fault it's still here.
What if you if you cared for one and then forgot about it?
Oh yeah, you can get through the gate. Oh, I always wondered that if it was locked, if you can get someone through whilst on a cart.
Yeah, you absolutely can. Yeah.
It's not a reindeer.
Which is how I got Calvert into my croc pens, but then when the cart glitched, he couldn't get out, because I can ride anybody into all of the pens at Brambleheim, into those aggressive creature pens, but they can't get themselves in there.
It is my fault that the reindeer's here.
So it is your reindeer. I was right.
I just forgot.
I was right.
I had it cared for, but I do have it cared for. Yeah, and then I dug all this bit down, and there's you see as well. It's a weird thing because you have to go down again to get to where the road that I built is, and there's just dips and stuff everywhere. But most of this place is still really natural to how it was when the server started, apart from the little bits of digging. So
that's actually one of the things I like about Independence, given how many people lived here when before there were other servers to live on. An awful lot of Independence does still feel really quite wild and natural. I mean, there's absolutely some very terraformed spaces on it, but there's a lot of like wild and wonderful bits too. Bear with me, guys. I'm just catching up on chat, because I know I was talking for a while there and therefore wasn't also watching chat. Okay, so Robbie, yours are still reindeer. Madune, you branded yours, and that's what's made them stick around. So you want boat sliding. You want to come tobogganing with us? And Mornix, you do not you do not want to come tobogganing down Dragon Fang with us. Fair enough. Oh, you spent 12 hours getting your body back. Well, one of the things that sounds like a croc.
It is a croc.
It is a croc. One of the things that Calvert and I did, I suppose it would help if I put my UI back up. One of the things before Calvert and I went up Dragon Fang was I made him eat a load of source crystals to make sure that we both had enough karma to summon our corpses back. Because I would not want to go trying to retrieve a corpse off Dragon Fang either. Absolutely not. So I think enough karma, either from missions or from eating source crystals, to make sure you've got a summon corpse available is a must if you want to come tobogganing with us. And if you don't have enough karma or the means to get enough karma, I'm sure we can help some people out. And I forgot to use the fireworks up there. Yes, I did. I know. I ended up using some of them back at base camp, but I was so miffed.
I did that too, Moomix, recently. I fell off a mountain, which, is just a pastime of mine. And my horse
Ruffle falls off mountains all the time.
Took halfway down the mountain, and so I had to embark on a rescue mission with sandwiches and things that were made for me, and a goat-shaped rune, and alcohol, and
making you like campaign bread or salmon sandwiches or something to try and get you back to it. Yeah, branded horse with all your treasure maps. That is pretty gutting. In fact, I did some daring do's. Not for a horse that had anything like that kind of value. But when Calvert and I were doing guidance streams, somebody went and showed us up their lovely mountain, and she fell off it. Like, we were just climbing up to the peak, and she fell off it, and like her her horse was halfway down it, and I was like, right, I'm going down. And there's a whole bit of stream with Calvert like peeking over the edge while I go abseiling down like bit by bit towards this horse. Frankly, I'm amazed I did not die.
I'm still going. I hope that's all right.
Yeah, you keep going.
Hiding.
Yeah, Mornix. So alcohol will give you stamina back, and because with measuring jugs you can drink very, very, very small increments of alcohol, it means although it's an awful lot of clicking, you can completely replenish your stamina with several sips of like 1 gram at a time, which is the smallest amount that you can have, and you're not getting horribly drunk while you're doing it, and therefore working at higher difficulty for things like your climbing skill. So alcohol is absolutely the way to go climbing. There is food that will do it, but the food is much, much heavier, and for something like Dragon Fang, you'd have to be carrying a lot of it. But it does replenish more stamina than alcohol does, sip by sip. But in terms of weight, and you want to be carrying as little as possible for a big climb like that, alcohol is the way to go. What we wouldn't do for our pets, what I wouldn't do for other people's pets or horses, or sometimes even just some random animal in distress that I've seen in the wild, both in Wurm and in real life. Like, I'm absolutely that person that will be like, right, tie a rope around me, I'm going in. So for anybody anybody who doesn't know what we're referring to, that there is the stream that I'm talking about, where Calvert and I went and scaled Dragon Fang and then jumped off the top of it for funsies. Oh, we're going to get a sunset. Are we going to get a sunset? We must be, yeah, because it's in the south. Sunset by Dragon Fang.
Yeah. There's a little building over there, but if you angled it right, there's a big massive flat bit here where someone could put a deed with this beautiful view.
Is that someone? Are you suggesting me?
Yeah, you
Do you know what? I've sailed past here so many times, and every time, because I'm like, I see that big colossus saying merchant here, and I'm like, oh, we'll mark it, and there never is.
There was a merchant.
Yeah,
there was a merchant for a little while. All of this is dropped by players. There was none of this land here for a long, long time. And then, after one of my breaks, I logged in. I was like, "What is all of that?"
And you can tell when
suddenly appeared.
You can tell when you get large swathes of player dropped land like this, because it tends to be 1 or 2 dirts above the waterline consistently throughout. That's usually the sign of a dirt dropped island.
They also blocked off my access round to be able to sail round the bit of land I lived on, and I was like, "What? No!"
That's frustrating. That is frustrating.
You live with it. It's
so
fine.
What have we got over here? So this bridge is called Port of Valerian, and presumably, yeah, that looks like a Valerian or Port of Valerian deed. I don't know what it's actually called. So let me go and have a quick look at the map.
Valerian Steel, I think, or it might be the port. Valerian Steel might be somewhere else.
The other kind of player-made islands that you come across sometimes are ones that are made with an item which is you don't see very many of at all anymore, called Wand of the Seas. And those kinds of islands are also very distinctive, because instead of being super duper flat and a couple of dirts above water like this, they tend to be kind of like mounds, almost like a tortoise's back. They tend to be quite high rounded islands. And usually, usually maybe always, in fact, have a rock layer so that you can also mine in them. Unlike dirt dropped islands, where obviously you don't get access to any kind of mining material, because it is just dirt. Okay, can I get a better position? I'm just kind of lining myself up for this sunset, because I love sunsets at the best of times. This is going to be, I think, a particularly beautiful sunset from this spot. Good night, Mornix. Yeah. This is a nice spot, Why has nobody come and built something at this spot? I mean, look at the view. I'm going to turn my UI off. Go on, Ruffle.
The thing is that you see people saying "Oh, I'm wondering which server to go to, where has lots of space," and people will tell them that the SFI servers are chock-a-block and there's no room to build, and it's just not true.
No.
There's so many spaces on all of them. You just got to kind of go out there and look for something that suits you, but there's always space.
And I think it
of
depends
all
what.
different kinds, things that are flattened for you already, things that haven't been terraformed at all. You know,
Yeah,
there's
there's still
there's loads of
virgin untouched
opportunity,
land as well.
but people will tell people that it's full, and it's really not.
I think as well. I mean, it kind of depends what you're looking for. But people who are like they want to go where lots of people are for a bigger community, you know, fair enough. Go for one of the servers that has got the bigger communities right now. But if what you've been hearing about Worm and what you really want in Worm is sort of like the culture of the community, like you get that on pretty much every server. You'll get it on both sides. And one of the things that I think is so lovely about the
So
Southern
I'm
Freedom
happy, Robbie.
Isles, and why I wish more newer players to the game came here to experience it, is actually I think part of the charm of Worm is the really very visible, tangible history of it.
Mhm,
And on these
mhm.
older servers, you get it, you know, and I mean, you can discover it obviously through things like archaeology, but I really like and kind of, I get a lot of kind of warmth and nostalgia about wandering around these servers and seeing structures and towns and like fragments of places that have gone before that were in the game, you know, longer than I have been. Like some of them decades old. um, well, over a decade old. Some of them.
It's one of the things that I loved when I first came to the game, because even though that server wasn't sort of that old when I first went on it, the idea that those paths that I saw were made by players, and that
Yeah,
mine was opened by a
yeah,
player, and the sign on the mine that no one understood, that had been put there by a player.
yeah, absolutely.
It fascinated me,
And that is
and so
also
I've always
that's
sort
one
of
of the
loved
things
things
that's
like
sort of
found
quite hard to explain to
terraforming.
people as well. Like just you know, when we call it a sandbox game, most people's experience of sandbox games are nothing like Worm is as a sandbox game. You know, like the closest thing that you can compare it to is Minecraft, I guess, in mechanics, but that still feels like a pretty poor man's way of explaining what we mean when we say like everything everything is made, you know, made by players, shaped by players. Like, you know, the servers are spawned and then everything from there on out are made, you know, these paths, these canals, these bridges, every bit of terraforming, all of that somebody did. Good night, Sensei.
Robbie would like to make a public service announcement that
That there is no
everything
space here.
around him is needed. Everything. It's full.
Absolutely no space here. Move along.
You can't go there. It's full.
Hello, baby. I've
Which
got a
does
hungry
feel a little
cat.
bit like a challenge. But I like Robbie, so I'm not going to take the challenge.
Don't worry, Robbie. We won't tell everybody where you're deeded. Everybody knows where Robbie's deeded anyway, because he's on my server. But I mean, so there are a lot of hermits in the game. Ruffle was a hermit for years. In a way, I mean, I don't really think of myself as a hermit, but I do absolutely understand the kind of the desire to have your space and have space around your space as well, right? Like I really like interacting with the community, but I think I would find it quite stifling if I had neighbours like on all sides and no space to expand, because it feels like it kind of inhibits your creativity. But also part of what I enjoy is the landscape around the spaces that I occupy in Worm. You know, I have both deeded and built from scratch islands for the views around them, for those beautiful unspoilt natural views. And one of the things that I enjoy about the bit of release where I live, which is why I've lived there for so long, is that kind of like the very kind of natural look of a lot of the terrain around me. Like we've got these sloping woodlands behind me, which I think are really lovely. And whenever I put deeds down, with a few exceptions, I tend to try and spend time going and like making the terrain look natural again if it has been too sharply terraformed, because I like that kind of a look. So even for people who, you know, who don't really consider themselves hermits, I think there are probably a lot of people who like me enjoy the community, but also just enjoy having enough space around them that, you know, even though it's not deeded, you know, it still feels like, you know, your home turf, and it looks a way that you enjoy. But there's plenty of space even for that. You know, it's not like there's a bit of space to deed, but you're going to be rubbing shoulders with everybody else. there is more than enough space for people to put deeds down and have space around them, and then interact with other people or not as much as they want to. And then there's people like Robbie who goes and deeds on top of a mountain to make sure that nobody gets up in his space. But I bet the views are great. There she goes. Bye-bye, sun. And now we're going to get the best bit of the day.
What I mean by hermit is that on Independence, I had a deed, and I had one neighbour in my local, and we'd kind of got the perimeters so that no one could deed the entire section of island space that we had, and I never really left my deed for years. Occasionally, very occasionally, but not much at all. And so that's what I mean by hermit, is that I was literally sort of tucked away from everyone. I mean, before that, I had been quite social and sort of lived in community in Wurm. It was just my hermit phase. Now I'm back to being out and about.
I sort of I wouldn't particularly have considered myself a hermit in my first couple of years in Wurm, but I wasn't very outgoing in terms of I wasn't part of an alliance. I wasn't really going out looking to talk to my neighbours or find my community. I didn't really interact in my server chat. I definitely didn't interact in global, and to be honest, I rarely still do. I do sometimes. But so in a way, I was sort of living a hermit Wurm life as well. I just wanted to find my nice little bit of land and build my little, medieval wild paradise space to spend time in and have my sheep and build things. And it wasn't that, anytime I saw another player in local, I was like, but it just sort of, I didn't really interact with I didn't really touch on the community side of things at all back then. And I think I enjoyed Wurm very much back then, but I enjoy it so much more now.
Yes,
having
definitely
explored more, actually gotten a bit more involved with the community, just gotten to know people around me. It has sort of taken, I already loved Wurm, but it took Wurm up to a different level, which for me was the difference between me playing Wurm for a few months, building my stuff, and then putting it down for a while, and then maybe coming back a year later or something. It was the difference between that and me building something and consistently keep coming back to Wurm. Even if I put it down now for a little while, my deeds are paid up for a good long time, I might put it down for a month or two and only log in very occasionally, but my community and my friendships and my deeds are all going to be there when I get back, and I'm never really actually stopping playing Wurm. I'm just pausing it for a little while to do something else or to focus on life. But I think since I started getting involved with the community, it stopped being I play Wurm and then I don't play Wurm, and started just becoming I am a Wurm player for as long as Wurm runs. For as long as the servers and my deeds are still there, and when I am not currently playing Wurm, I am still a Wurm player. I'm just a Wurm player who's currently on a break. And that shift, it's my favourite bit. That purpling sky. And that shift in mentality and how I view Wurm, this very much feels like my community, not just my game. And that persists whether or not I am currently in Wurm. That's you, Bisa. I ruined you with the puzzle event the other week. It just opens up so much of the game, I think, in so many different ways. And I think as well, if you've come from other kinds of MMOs or games with communities, even if you've had good experiences with, if you come from something like WoW and you've had maybe a really good experience with your guildmates or something, you probably still haven't had, a great experience. Maybe you've had a neutral experience, but you probably haven't had a brilliant experience with the wider community. So a lot of people coming from other games, other MMOs and other games where you play with other people, their experience of community does tend to be quite kind of if you're lucky, you found your people, and that was quite cool, and you worked together to do stuff. But it's not the way the Wurm community feels, for me at least, just feels kind of wholly different to that. And I think that's maybe one of the things that makes a lot of people a little bit unsure in the beginning about, whether they want to kind of step out of their comfort zone and go and get involved in the community, because it really is not like any other community I've experienced in gaming spaces on the internet. And it can take a little while to kind of to really get that, I think. So, since then, Visa, you've been to a Rift. You're currently engaging with new players, building a small area on guidance. That's brilliant. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. It's just so different from all other communities. And, you know, and I think that that's a wonderful thing about it. But also, you can tell people that, you know, till the cows come home, but they kind of have to experience it for themselves sometimes for them to get it. And I hear it time and time again. I hear it from new players and I hear it from old players. And it's always wonderful when I hear it when people come in and they're like, people here are so great, you know, like, you know, somebody came and gave me a horse, somebody came and rescued me and helped me find my corpse when I died, and, you know, I died on the map and some people, you know, spoke to me in my freedom chat and then they rode out and they came and escorted me back to get it. Or there's just so many stories, and the first time, or the first times that people experience that, it's a really kind of noticeable effect. And I love hearing stories like that where people are like, people were so nice, people like fed me, and somebody's brought me into their village. Or like, that's why I like hearing how people started in Wurm sometimes as well, because you get some really good stories like that. But you just hear those stories again and again and again over the years, new player experiences where they finally kind of tap into that kind of that community stepping out to help you and welcome you in and just give you like tips and advice. I think when people get to that point, that's when they kind of, it clicks for them what we mean when we say that the Wurm community is just not really quite like any other community. So out of interest, Bisa, how did you find Wurm? I'm always interested how people find it the first time. Bun, I'm sure I've asked you this before, because I know when you first came to Wurm, you were like, what is this? This is not the game for me, and yet here you are. But how did you find Wurm? Bun, you followed Drogos across, right? So you came with a bunch of people from something else, is that right? Yeah. Bisa, your theory about the nice Wormian community, the way this game plays, yeah, with that kind of that rough starts and things, it does filter out a lot of people. It filters out a lot of people who don't have the patience for Wurm, which is why I think what Katz was saying earlier about, you know, how different an experience would it be, how meh of an experience would it be if you didn't have that initial kind of challenge at the beginning. But I do think it does do some important filtering, because if you don't, if those early challenges are off-putting enough for you, this probably isn't actually the game for you anyway. Which doesn't mean that, you know, everybody who struggles with those first challenges won't love Wurm. A lot of people, like Bun, come into Wurm the first time and they're like, what is this? No, this is not the game for me. But for some of those people, something clearly has still been unlocked, because they, like, their initial reaction to it is like, no, what is this? They're like, this is not my game. And yet something keeps them coming back just long enough that then it starts to kind of seep in, and then Wurm's in your blood, and once it's in your blood. Yeah, okay, so Bun, you came from WoW Classic with your guildmaster. Nice. Beezy, you saw a random YouTube video. Oh, Bisa, great. So actually, you saw Wurm, you saw that community kind of in action. If you were watching videos of somebody being helped by a veteran to get their kind of start in the game, like, that's exactly the kind of thing we're talking about. Because it would be easy to watch that, right, and wonder how common of an experience that actually is. But for a lot of people, that is exactly the experience that got them here.
Do you know how I found Wurm?
No, actually, I don't think I do. Because so I know how everybody else found Wurm through you. How did you find it?
My like boyfriend at the time started playing it, and suggested that I give it a go too, which I did, and then he quit after about 2 weeks, and I'm still here. And that was really the best thing I got out of that relationship.
Well, that was a pretty good thing to get out of it. I mean, look, you've got this whole like history and community and all of this joy.
Would you like to hop on the cart again?
Yes, sorry, I was so excited watching the sundown.
You can continue.
Where are you? There you are. No. I was just in nostalgia mode. Right. How are we doing? How are we doing? Oh, you know what? We made great time. We're just coming up on midnight, but actually, we did pretty good time. What I was hoping we would do was at least make it as far as Rufflehome, but we could carry on.
Well, it depends where you want to
Or
go
we
and
could.
make camp again.
Well, it's up to you. How are you doing? I mean, how are you doing in terms of energy levels? We could go and find somewhere pretty to go and set up a camp, or we could travel on a little bit further and explore some more stuff.
Yeah, we could go a little bit further. I think I'm okay at the moment.
So then I guess probably what we want to do from here... Ooh, choices.
Do you want to head in the direction of Dragon Fang or somewhere else?
Yeah. So if we cross over to the east side of this lake and follow it down, we might make our way down towards... We're going to be heading down to... sort of towards the Rockcliffe Museum. If we... I guess it depends which way round Dragon Fang we go, but can we follow this coast down and round, do you think?
Yep.
Let's do that.
I've done it on foot before. Because when I first returned, I died pretty much straight away. Because, you know, that's a thing that happens to me sometimes. Not that regular, honest. And so I ended up, because I didn't have a team anymore, I ended up back over at Freedom Market. And then had to run back with no stuff.
Madune, oh yeah, guidance does suffer from griefers. Well, and I mean, in fairness, that's kind of, I suppose, part of what the tutorial server is there for. I mean, it doesn't... It a lot of people who Wurm is not for them in the long term will come into the game and either intentionally or often I think unintentionally, because they don't realise, you know, how stuff works in this game, will end up going and like kind of bashing and destroying things or whatever, or stuff that is possible to do in game, but which, you know, once you learn anything about kind of Wurm etiquette, you know, isn't the done thing or isn't considered cool. But I think a lot of it is people who are brand new to the game just testing out the system to see what they can do, and if the game allows it, you know, there's an assumption, I think, for some people that therefore that is, you know, that is a legit way to play this game. And when you've got all of those new people coming straight onto a server as they used to, so before we had the guidance server, and after Golden Valley, which used to be the tutorial server, closed, new players would port straight into Independence, right? And they would land in Haven's Landing. And so what happened around Haven's Landing was you got an awful lot of sort of new player activity, and some of that, you know, and some of that was lovely, just first homes, and they would spread out, but also it meant that when you got those people coming in, you know, just figuring out what they can do within the system, I guess that was probably quite a difficult place to live and to settle long term for a lot of people, because they probably had a lot of similar problems there where, you know, either intentional griefing or, as I say, I think for a lot of people, not intentionally griefing, but just doing whatever the system allows, and that being the way they discover, you know, what they can and can't do in the game. So, I mean, it's sad but not surprising that there is some of that on guidance, because I think there's some of that with new players in basically any game, but at least on guidance, because guidance is not meant to be a permanent space to settle. It's sort of like damage limitation, with people testing out the limits and finding out what they can and can't do while they're there. And hopefully means less kind of longer term upset and damage to the established servers, where people have, you know, sometimes where things have been left untouched or left a certain way for years and years, and then somebody comes through and can spoil it sometimes. So Banlows, yeah, Drogos made a new tune, and you guys did that kind of like running for your life until you found somewhere. Yeah. Galandria, you found it on Steam. Do you know what? I think that kind of like that clickbait worst MMO ever article probably has brought quite a lot of people to Wurm. Like, I hear that one come up a lot, and undoubtedly has also, you know, made some people look at Wurm and then be like, nah. But absolutely, I've seen people come and be like, or sometimes people who've like watched watched somebody like doing a little bit of a rant, like on a YouTube video or a streamer or something, about like, you know, these ridiculously deep, like several levels deep crafting menus and all of the right clicking you have to do. And like there are some people who watch that and they're like, all of those things that you're complaining about actually just like, they're really compelling though. And I think in a way showing Wurm like it is maybe the best thing that you can do, because it isn't going to be for everybody, but for some people. You can try and put them off it as much as you like, but most of what you're going to be showing them, like maybe they will be like, oh. There used to be a market here, I think. If we're where I think we are, yeah.
I kind of remember it before all that land was there.
Am I in the right spot?
That's where I used to come for clay.
Definitely one around here.
Every so often, I'd actually venture off my deed just to go get clay.
There you go. There's another great big undeeded, terraformed bit of land. Nice. Although we did enter and leave Quincy Mine. I don't actually know where Quincy Mine was because I wasn't paying attention on that one. Visa, you reckon you got a few folks from Doshington's video? I've not seen that one. But there we go. Oh, and that's Bell's End that you were talking about. Yeah. Needs to make a follow-up video to bring more zealots. Who else have we got in chat? So Madioon, I know how you found it because we kind of talked about that. Have we got anybody else in chat who hasn't told us how they found Wurm yet? I'm just always really interested how people get here. Like, I think Steam brought in a lot of people, but if you didn't come through Steam, Steam was about the only kind of, I think, high-profile-ish advertising push, and they didn't actually do anywhere near as much advertising around the Steam launch as they could have done. But if you didn't find it through Steam, most people's stories about finding it are either something like I think Calvert's story is something like after the game that he was playing before Wurm, after the last of their servers closed, he just went like googling for, you know, something like, I don't know, medieval sandbox MMOs or sandbox MMOs or something like that. He found it on a Google search, and a few people have found it like that. A lot of people got brought into Wurm by somebody else. And so for people who kind of discovered it through Wurm's own self-promotion, pretty much it's only ever people who joined at the Steam launch, I think. Or people who got lucky on a Google search one day. Ignatius, you learned by word of mouth in an Irish pub. Nice. Robbie found it through Google search when he got when he got tired of WoW, around Lich King time. Yeah. I love that kind of hearing it down a pub. And you know, and as we've said, like I found it, I mean, through Ruffle, who I knew in real life, but really I found it through somebody I knew just posting about it on social media. And that was my kind of first introduction to Wurm even existing, because I had never heard of it before that point. A lot of people haven't. You know, when people first stumble across it, they're like, how have I never heard about this thing? Because they're terrible at advertising and always have been.
Yeah, you do every so often get like a big chunk of interest, like most recently with the I've got his name, Professor something, isn't it?
Yeah. Professor Lee?
Lee? Yeah. And so, you know, we got a big influx of Brazilian and Portuguese speaking players, and like there have been similar things like that in the past. Like I remember a big thing with, was it Reddit or was it like 4chan or something way back? Massive. The people who built Brotopia, if anyone was around for that, and there were just so many people suddenly. So yeah, every so often you do get like this massive influx, but it always seems to come from like a single person.
You get somebody with influence in a sphere of social media or something who takes an interest in the game and just brings a whole swathe of people watching their content with them. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was back when 4chan wasn't as bad as it is now. Not as bad.
Does 4chan still exist? God help us. Moomin, you came in with Steam. Nice.
They all called each other bros, and so everywhere in chat they'd just be like, bump into people going, these bros are lost! These bros are starving!
See, the trouble is, once you move over to this side, ooh, Galaxy, God, I love that galaxy. Once you move over to this side, then you start getting so close to Dragon Fang that actually it's hard to get the views of it, because even though we're still really quite a way away from it, Dragon Fang is just so
Bear
huge.
shark. Oh, it got out of the water.
Bear shark! I was introduced to bear sharks on day one. That was one of the things that followed us into the lake when we were trying to dodge everything else. But yeah, like Dragon Fang is just... Oh, did you see that? That was a really weird glitch. Look at that. I'm getting like cobblestone glitches on the side as well. So
Ooh.
strange. But Dragon Fang is just so huge. Like the scale is so massive that once you start getting close to it, actually, it is no longer a view. It is literally just a wall of cliff. So for your Dragon Fang views, you kind of need to be anywhere but
yeah,
surrounding Dragon Fang. You want to be on any of the kind of like these surrounding islands and land masses, because otherwise you just spend all of your time with like crick in the neck. Look at that! Look at that weird, like, it's the entire top half of Dragon Fang is currently covered in gigantic cobblestone for me.
Cobblestone for it is for me as well if I look up.
Yeah, but it's only when you look up, and I mean, obviously we can't look at it looking down from here, but it seems to be a thing about twisting up. We discovered this before when we were sailing quite a bit further away. Is when you tilt your camera up, you get that weird texture effect. Have we got Disco Mountains anywhere? Yep, there's one. There's a Disco Mountain over there, doing a little flashy flash Rave Mountain. Bet there are some others as well. We've had some interesting graphical glitches since we had the big graphics update, and Rave Mountains or Disco Mountains, depending on which terminology you prefer. On one of those ones that I'm like, I don't know, I find it kind of charming in a way.
What new things should we do to make a now influx? I mean, I don't know why people aren't flocking in because of Crim, to be honest. Like.
Well, I too don't advertise myself. I'm terrible at self-promotion. But I think that's the thing, right? You can't really do anything to make an influx like that happen. It's like anything, any kind of viral thing on social media. It's actually a lot of people put a lot of time and research and money trying to figure out the mechanics of how to make something go viral. And in some ways you can, in theory, but so often it's just the right thing at the right time in front of the right audience, and that and you can't really manufacture that kind of magic. Sometimes it just all comes together. Random pottery kilns there. So if we reached a point where raw toast's shed. That's an interesting name. What is raw toast? I mean, is raw toast that you haven't put anything on, or is it just bread? Surely it's just bread because it's uncooked toast. So, can we carry on round the coast? Can our only way be through the mountains? You know what? Let's go and have a quick look at a...
Yeah, kind of ish at the bottom of...
Let's have a look.
I think that if we go through the map, we might end up at Lyric Beach, I think. Ultimately, eventually. But it's not a very exciting view.
Look-see. Ooh, you reckon? Okay, so there... I'm trying to figure out where we are.
I know, that's the problem.
So I think this bridge next to us, this North Highway connection, is that little pink bridge going... That's the one going east to west. So I think actually we don't want to take the tunnel. It looks like if we can follow this little bit of coast round, that will get us to Lyric Beach. But I don't know where the tunnel goes, because that doesn't appear to be a highway that's marked on the map if we're where I think we are.
So carry on west past the raw toast.
Yeah. Good night, Moomin. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. I like that you give me nice audio alerts when you come and go. Herald your entrance and your exit. Yeah, so I think there should just be a tiny little path all the way around, and then as we come around this side, we should be coming up on the kind of the Lyric Beach, Rockcliffe Museum bit of it. And since we've been talking about Wurm history, if anybody hasn't yet heard of the Rockcliffe Museum, a player in game, Nirav, has been working with a bunch of other players to essentially try and sort of collect and preserve pieces of Wurm history, in particular the players who have made Wurm. So that thing that we were talking about earlier, how everything in here has been made and built by players, and every highway and every bridge, like the influence of people on the game and the land, which is so kind of so sort of central to Wurm's character, is something that Nirav is really kind of big on trying to kind of preserve, and that's kind of what Rockcliffe Museum is about. It's got a lot of items in it, so it's a really good place to see a lot of the different kinds of items in the game. It's got, like, you know, all kinds of like PMK wagons and banners and stuff, and you get to see a lot of item models which maybe you've never put down on a side, but the main thing about it is all of the player signatures on all of those items, and that kind of a lot of those players who, some of them, you know, were in the game for years but have not been in the game for a long time now. Some from people who have been in the game for a long time and are still here. Some from players who were seminal to the game in many ways, who were very influential on it and have now passed away. So it's a really nice collection of sort of two names from across the years. And if you're someone who has been in the game for a long time, and in particular someone who played the game a while ago and then took a break and came back to it, you might find that's a nice nostalgia trip. Going and just going and looking at all of those names and coming across names that you had forgotten you knew. I think that's one of the really nice things about the museum if you're a longer term player. But if you're a new player and you know, you're not going to have those memories conjured, I still think it's a really nice kind of just exploration of stuff. And Nero's been putting a lot of work into trying to, for example, put bits together about the history of the PMKs that come and went. So for those of you that are on Southern Freedom Isles or have seen the various PMK banners and wagons and things on Southern Freedom Isles, there's not a whole lot of information about those kingdoms on Chaos that came and went, and who was part of them, and when they even existed. Most of what most people who aren't PvPers will know about those is from the bits that you see on PvE, from like the designs and stuff. But Nero's been trying to get dates and names together to try and just give a little bit more history. Who have we got in local? Oozidab.
Ooztab.
Ooztab.
To me, is a bit of a celebrity, because way back when I did used to visit Freedom Market, I bought a bunch of tools and things, all called like Ooze brand. And so yeah, when I first saw the player years later, I just sort of thought, oh, you made my tools. I didn't say anything though, because that's weird. But I was excited.
So we're just passing through Fairview. Wait. Through Oceania Terraces at Fairview.
If we can see the lovely lighting of the museum.
So we can, and there you go. That is the Rockcliffe Museum up there that I was just talking about. You can park at Lyric Beach, which is just what you can see just over there. I think with that big tall tower. Is that on Lyric Beach, just over there? There's a nice little market. Oh, we could go and have a look at Sid's Dye Shop. Yeah. You can park a boat up here, and there is an annual Rockcliffe Gala as well, which just runs for a day or a weekend, usually, where they get everybody together and they come and have a big event up there. But you can pull up in a boat and run up to the Rockcliffe Museum on foot. Although it is quite high up, there is a lovely, very easy zigzaggy road up here. It's this highway just here, and there are nice signposts to show you the way. So you just take a little zigzaggy path all the way up to the Rockcliffe Museum up there, which, as Ruffle says, is beautifully coloured and lit. And I think is open. Is it open to visit all the time? I feel like it probably is.
I'm sure you can go anytime.
I know when they have a gala, sometimes they close it just while they're preparing in the hours beforehand to get everything ready. But other than that, I think it is open all of the time. Oh, Beezer, you love my accent, but you can't make some of the fast words out sometimes. Yeah, I'm sorry, I do speak fast sometimes. If you've ever missed something, and you want to know what it is, do just shout out in chat and say, what was that thing you just said? Because I am a fast talker, I know, I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm carrying on for so long though that by the time I go back and I get it. So Roughcliffe, Rawcliffe, yeah, Rockcliffe. And in fact, I will go and find you a nice linky for that as well. Because I'm sure there is a static post about it. And the Rockcliffe Museum, actually, well, I don't know, maybe there's somebody in chat who can tell us more about the history of that than I know, but it was named after, it was refounded over a deed that went back to quite early indie days, I think, and there is a Rockcliffe Cathedral nearby as well. Oh, he's also established one on Northern Freedom Isles. I didn't know that. So let me just find.
I'm not sure.
You sure? Oh no! Did you beat me to the dye shop? You fiend! Yep. You fiend! I'm gonna go and look in a second. Oh,
I need some more of my Crystal Singer Blue. What if I run out?
Okay, here we go. There are so many Rockcliffe Museum posts. It's just digging your way through to find the right one. Although actually, I don't know if there is a right one. It's also got its own website. Actually, maybe that's what I should have gone for.
Crystal Singer Blue, memers. It's beautiful.
It is a pricey but very, very pure, bright, gorgeous blue that Sid does, and this is Sidereal, who is one of SFI's better known dye makers, and works magic with dyes.
In a moment, Crim can show you the beautiful colours in a moment.
I will. I'm just going to pop this link in chat, and then I'm going to go and look if Ruffle hasn't bought everything.
I haven't. I've left some. Yeah, all my armour is dyed with Crystal Singer Blue, and if you've ever seen Raspberry's Shiny Shield, that's done in Crystal Singer Blue as well.
So on armour, it looks like quite a dark blue, but if you see it, is there an example of it here? Is this one it? There you go.
Yep, the little jar on the
this really kind of vibrant, bright blue. This is the Crystal Singer Blue. And as with all dyes, it will look different on different materials. So, as we said, like on Ruffle's armour, you're actually getting a much darker iteration of it, but it's a really lovely colour. And this is just a very, very few samples of the many, many dyes that Sid does. Sometime when I'm back on Brambleheim for a stream, I will, I don't think I've ever shown you guys inside my alchemy den, but my alchemy den has got quite a display of dyes, and it includes, by no means all, but a lot of dyes from various dye makers in Wurm. Like there's a lot of Sid's dyes there's a lot of Kazumi's dyes there. There's I don't know who makes them, but Bastit's Bazaar, which is one of the markets on Celebration, they've got a big dye shop, and I've got a bunch of their dyes there as well. I've got some of my dyes there, some of Robbie's dyes. I think I've got some of Retro's dyes there. But yeah, really kind of anybody can make dye in game, but when you're at lower skill, what you tend to make is muddier colours. So when you get these really, really bright, vibrant colours, those are made by people usually with a lot of skill, because at higher skill, you have to do a lot of mixing to kind of get those colours, and you tend to be getting cleaner, brighter colours out of it. There are some exceptions, because the primary colours are easier to make more potently. There's still RNG in there. You'll make some muddy coloured ones, and you might make some bright coloured ones as well. But when you move away from those kind of like red, blue, green ones, and you're moving into sort of like pinks and oranges and turquoises and purples and things, sort of the more steps you get away from those sort of primary straightforward colours, the more difficult it is to get a really bright, vibrant shade. And I don't know if we've still got Robbie in chat, but Robbie is an excellent dye maker. So if anybody's got questions about dye, he's going to hate me for saying this because he's a hermit and he doesn't like people. He does like people. But Robbie knows an awful lot about dye making. Certainly a lot more about it than I do. Right, I wanted to see if there was anything here to buy. Oh, look at it all, look at it all. Never have enough dye. Do you know what? Dye is another one of those things that for years and years and years I did not touch it, much like priests and enchanting and everything else. My first couple of years in Wurm, I was not interested in the trade system at all. I had nothing enchanted. I had nothing special at all. And one of the things I think that changed Wurm for me as well when I came back the second time was putting just a little bit of money into it and getting myself enchanted tools made such a hell of a difference to how much I enjoyed engaging with the skill systems and the crafting systems.
You're so friendly, Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie doesn't sell to the public, but he can be called on for advice. You might not want you to PM him in game, but if you've got anything in chat, Robbie will quite happily dissuade you from getting into die making and the repetitive strain injury that you're likely to get by trying. Yeah, enchanted and imped tools make such a difference. And you don't necessarily realise that until you try them, or until you're talking to people in the community, which of course if you do as I did, where I did start with, a small community, but then Ruffle and Beres had stopped playing for a while and I'd set out on my own to make my own deed, wasn't really talking to people in general, and would see, would occasionally open up trade, look at things and be like, I'm not paying money for that, but you don't really have a concept of how much difference it makes until you actually get some enchanted stuff and try it.
Yes.
And it makes a hell of a difference. So what have we got? Dark turquoise, Dodger blue. I like Dodger blue. In fact, if you've ever seen Crim in her pirate gear, which is the blue rare chainmail set, that's all painted in Dodger blue, I'm pretty sure. Indigo, blue, violet. Lovely midnight black. Got some forest greens. I've already got a couple of jade seagrass at home. I was looking at those earlier today. Ooh, what's the pomegranate? Is that one of these pinky ones? Is there an example? Oh, no. Okay. Bear with me, guys. I found a dye shop.
Yeah, you got to stop for Sid's dyes because they're.
As Bun says, that's why Impalongs are nice. And if you can get people to come along to an Impalong, that is for a lot of people their first introduction to the community. Ruffle, do you want to take that one? Bisa has heard of Impalongs but doesn't know what they entail.
So
shop quietly.
Where do I start? So an Impalong is a gathering. It's often over a weekend or something like that, and they're held usually at quite big deeds that are specially built for the purpose. So these deeds will have all sorts to explore, and they usually sort of are centered around one very big building, which has often a floor where priests go and sermon, where enchanting tools and things like that is done. Then there are all sorts of other floors where people basically, the reason it's called an impalong is because people go, you can drop off things that you need imping, and other people will imp them up to a reasonable level, often about 70. So it's a great way to build up skills. Because no matter how low your skill is, there'll always be something you can imp.
Almost all of my blacksmithing came from Impalongs.
Yeah. And so it's a great way to gain some skills, and also a great way to get your own tools improved. So it's a bit of a sharing thing. But also, you've got everyone gathered together. There's a lot of things going on in the local chat. There'll often be games and events and things. One of the things that Crim sort of lured me back to Wurm with was tales of a fish slapping competition.
That's how I got her back. Yes,
Yeah,
I was late for a D&D game because I was in the midst of a fish slapping competition, and I told Ruffle about this when I turned up for my D&D game, and she was like, "Oh, I do miss Wurm." And that was how we got her back, folks. Carry on.
But yeah, there's just so much. There's so much to sort of see and do, and I hadn't even been in all my years of Wurm. I hadn't been to an Impalong until I returned to Wurm, and Crim took me along to one, and now I'm at all of them.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, and important. I'm sure Ruffle probably did say this, but so importantly, it's free. It is absolutely. It's free for anybody to go, and getting your stuff imped up is free. Getting your stuff enchanted is free. The whole point is it's players coming of all kinds of skill coming together and helping other people in the community get their stuff made better for free, for love, for community. So it is a really, really good way, as Bun and as others have said, and as Ruffle has said, to first of all kind of get your first step into the community, to meet and talk to other people, but also to just get a little bit of a leg up with your stuff. So if you haven't got anything enchanted, or if you've only got a few things enchanted, or your enchants aren't very good, the target at pretty much every Impalong is to try and get everything that people put in for imping up to quality 70 as a minimum. Sometimes they will get taken higher, and likewise for enchants, to get things enchanted at 70 or above, but because of the way the enchanting system works, when they're going for a target of 70 or above, sometimes you will get your stuff enchanted with, you know, an enchant that's over 100. So you can get really lucky and get something really, really good out of there. And it is all done out of, you know, love and community spirit. A lot of work goes into creating those. And as Ruffle says, you know, they often also run in tandem, run like games and competitions and other like fun things for people to do while they're there, besides just imping and getting their stuff imped. So they are great. I would recommend anybody who's never been to an imp-along at least go to one to experience it. And you might find, like Ruffle and me, once you go to your first one, you end up going to all of them. Yeah. And Bun is a bit of an expert on this because Bun runs one of the imp-alongs on Southern Freedom Isles with friends and alliance mates, and we talked about that briefly when I was just doing the little news segment earlier. I don't think there's something on the forums about it yet, but the Delhi Renaissance Festival, which happens on Deliverance, is an annual imp-along that has been going for many, many years, and it will happen over the Easter break again this year. And I have been recruited this year into helping out with the entertainment squad, so I will be doing some streaming at the Delhi Renaissance Festival this year. But I'm always there anyway, because I like imp-alongs. It's where I get a lot of the creatures for my market, but also I just really like the atmosphere. It becomes a really kind of intense few days of just like so much socializing, and then at the end of it I'm exhausted and I get event drop and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so tired, but it's always a really good time. And I have so much love and gratitude to the people who make them possible and put so much time and resource forward for free, you know, for love, to make them possible. So I'm always happy to contribute to them as well in any ways that I can. Yeah, and Bun's added a load of stuff in chat there as well about it, but
yeah, and it's an important point that it really is for anyone, and actually really particularly does benefit anyone who's new. So yeah,
they were set up originally to help people who were new or didn't have much stuff, but yeah, as Ruffle says, you can benefit from them at any point. And if you're a player who's already got all of the stuff they could want imped up and whatever, you can just go there and grind a load of skill and help other people get their stuff tinked up and touch base with people and hang out and have a laugh and
win prizes.
There's things for everybody at every level of skill. What am I doing? I'm looking for coins. Coins.
I was trying to remember where the token was, and I can't remember. I mean, I can remember, I just can't find
65. 2
Not
silver
that I need
and 10.
more things too.
Well, anytime I get rare coins, I dump those in my coin purse. So unless I've taken money out of a token, I'm not normally carrying normal cash. I'm sometimes carrying change from things. But because all of my rare coins go into my coin purse, I end up spending my rare coins at merchants. And I never know if they actually get rare coins out the other side when they come to pick them off, or if the system just kind of absorbs them away. What was I after? And 10. Yes.
Yes, looking forward to the next Delhi Renaissance Festival.
Yeah, we're coming back into imp-along season now. So there's the Mardi Gras one in February, there's the Delhi Renaissance Festival in April, and then there will be, I assume, again, Friend Along, which is usually July. So there's a summer one as well. So you don't have to go more than a couple of months, 2 or 3 months from one imp-along to the next. They happen, you know, pretty much all year round. So at any point that somebody joins the game, there will always be another imp-along on the horizon. Coming up soon. And as Bun says, they do these on the Northern Freedom Isles as well. I know less about which ones run there. I know the Isle of Skye runs like a few a year. I'm sure there have been other imp-alongs going on the Northern Freedom Isles as well. On the Southern Freedom Isles, we tend to have, you know, imp-alongs that happen on an annual cycle. So there's a Delhi Renaissance one every year. The Mardi Gras, I think, had their first one last year, but it looks like they're looking to be an annual thing because they're back again this year. The Friend Along has been running every summer for years. Draco runs the kind of Christmas end one, the Lunar Long, it's called. So that's usually in December every year. We used to have a regular October one as well at New Festival Cove. That hasn't run for the last couple of years, but sometimes somebody else will pop up a mini one kind of in that slot to take us from you know, to give us an imp-along hop between summer and Christmas. So I bought some dies. Not too many dies, just some. I've still got that snowball you threw at me earlier. And at point blank range, I mean, surely I can't miss. Gotcha. I was thinking the other day, actually, I've mentioned a couple of times that I've got plans to kind of not expand Little Venice, which is my market. For anybody that doesn't know, I have a market deed, which is a similar kind of market to this in as much as there are actual shops, not just merchants at stands, but sort of like shops. It's a whole purpose-built deed with little like street rows of shops and things. And I've got plans to reorganize it, but not expand it, so that I can fit even more shops in it. But I was wondering actually the other day about whether it would be interesting for anybody to see a kind of like how to go about setting up a marketplace if you want to do that. Because I actually did quite a lot of sort of research into how marketplaces did and didn't work well in Wurm before I built my first one. And I'd spent quite a bit of time sort of analysing how things work in trade, the kind of things that would sell and didn't, what I liked in a marketplace, went visiting a lot of them, which is why I have, in a way, that thread on the forum trying to connect, trying to keep track of all of the active marketplaces in the Southern Freedom Isles, because I really like them. I enjoy them. I enjoy all different kinds of marketplaces, not just ones like the one I run. But it all started with me sort of visiting a particularly nice market. In fact, I think Kazumi's Greenwood Market on release was the first one that I went to that wasn't just kind of merchants in at like trader stalls, at merchant stalls, but was actually sort of like little shops. And I think the first time I went there, I was like, this is brilliant. I want more of these in the game. And I went actively looking, trying to find more like that in the game, and didn't find very many of them, but I did find some. And I just really enjoyed them all. And it made me want to go and create one of my own and encourage other people to also create them. But yeah, I might do a stream sometime soon, just kind of explaining how marketplaces work, how merchants work for anybody who's never engaged with the merchant system, and also if you want to set up a marketplace, some of the things that you might want to think about, some of the ways that you can do it, because some people set up marketplaces and everything in them is stuff that they are creating. And sometimes you hit a little bit of a wall where, if you're only selling stuff that you have the skills to make, then that might be quite difficult to find sort of like the market that you're looking for who also need that stuff. That was one of the things I considered when making mine, because I don't have super high skills, but also I don't spend a lot of time creating things. And what I ended up with was a market where some of the stuff in that is stuff that I make and create and sell, but also some of that stuff is stuff that is sourced elsewhere, because people will come to the market for those other things, but while they're there, I've made a charming enough market that most of them will continue to explore the rest, and will also sometimes buy some of the stuff that I've made, or some of the things that they otherwise might not. And sometimes they won't buy anything at all, but a lot of people go away just having enjoyed the experience and the atmosphere of that place, and they go away talking about it. And sometimes they create their own markets, and then there's more of them in game, and I love that. So I think I might do a little stream just kind of talking around how all of that works, things you might want to do if you're considering building one, ways to get more people coming, because I'm not very good at self-promotion. as anybody who knows me will know, I'm very, very poor. I almost never mention Little Venice in trade chat, and although it has a thread on the forums, I'm very, very bad at updating it. But Little Venice brings in a lot of coin, considering I never advertise it, which must mean I'm doing something right. Because it consistently brings in enough coin to pay for the Brambleholme Wildlife Park, which is quite a big deed, and other things besides. So a lot of that early work evidently paid off, and I really I don't take any of it for granted. I really enjoy and appreciate sort of the all of that labour of love, that extended labour of love continuing to pay off. But I also I don't want to be one of these people being like, I've learned all of the secrets and I'm keeping them to myself. I would love there to be more marketplaces. I would like more people to be engaging with trade, not just in trade chat, but actually in the game, and making interesting places to visit and seeing success there. So if there is anything that I can sort of pass on or help with or answer questions about, that's something that I think it would be really nice to do. So you go. Ruffle and Madoon have both got a little market on release. Pool's closed. So there are quite a few people here who have other markets. Bun has got not one but 2 markets that Bun's involved with over in Delhi.
They're some of
Maybe
my favourite.
3. So, you know, there are plenty of people around in chat as well who also have experience of running markets, and I think we could probably get a really interesting conversation going about the different things that we've experienced about it and the different approaches that we've taken to it. So I shall squeeze one of those in sometime soon. I think that would be a really interesting conversation. Hello, Samwise. Is there any reason to make high QL boats? Yes. There are some reasons. As Ruffle says, higher quality boats go faster, which is a really big and good one. But I mean, also boats decay really quite slow. So boats can be, boats tend to endure long past people's houses and things when deeds fall. So a lot of people also keep a really good boat, sort of as a security measure, because boats will be around long past anything else. But yeah, high quality boats. That speed difference can make a lot of difference if you're somebody who travels even a little bit, or a lot. I mean, if you're only going sort of like round about the area where you live, you probably won't see the difference so much. But if you travel across servers, for example, or even if you do quite a lot of traveling around your server, that extra speed can make a hell of a lot of difference, especially when you start tackling anything less than a gale, which really slows you down. Because as we've said before, travel in Wurm can take some time. But again, we were talking about impelongs just now, and impelongs, you can also get big things like boats and carts imped up at impelongs. There are some wonderful, very skilled players who will tink all of your stuff right up for you. Sometimes you're very, very lucky at an impelong, and somebody imping your stuff will turn it rare. There have absolutely been boats and carts rared at impelongs sometimes. So it's not just tools and things at events like that you can get imped up, by the way, guys. You can also, yeah, faster. And I wish that we could paint go faster stripes on it, and that would also make it go faster. Alas, it does not. But quality, yeah, quality definitely makes a difference. Oh,
You know you're the driver, don't you?
Am I? Oh, no, I didn't.
You wondered why we've been stood here for so long.
I was...
It's because you got on as driver.
I'm sorry. Do you want to drive?
No, it's fine. I just didn't know if you knew.
No, I didn't. I thought I had happily got back in as passenger, and we were just too excited talking about markets.
I was going to interrupt you until it was a good moment. I thought increasingly, I'm like, you think I'm just stood here for no reason?
So as I back up, that back there, that is Rockcliffe Museum, and a little bit further up, I posted the link in chat for anybody who is interested to go and find out more about that. And there will probably be another gala coming up. When do they happen? Summer? I feel like it's summertime. There should be another Rockcliffe Gala coming up this year, and we are currently passing through Lyric Beach, I think. You pushed me in the chest as well. Rude. Yes, we are currently in a D called Lyric Beach, which is just sort of at the foot of Dragon Fang, but just in front of the Rockcliffe Museum as well. And this has some lovely little of those aforementioned shops, so whenever Ruffle and I come past here, we make a beeline for the dye shop. So for anybody who's joined us recently and isn't sure where we are on Independence. We are now currently about here, which is, what is it? It's about K15. Just sort of wrapping around the foot of Dragon Fang. But we've actually travelled quite a way. Ooh, what's this? Are we still on Deed? We are still on Deed. Stormy Gardens. I wonder if this is actively terraforming in progress, or if this is a terraforming project on pause. But yeah, Ruffle and I have now been on Independence for a few hours, and we've travelled quite a way because we started all the way up here, looking for Samling, which was the original start town, which no longer stands, and we've kind of come all the way down the coast here, and across to see what was Ruffle's original deed here, and is still Beres's deed space here, with some beautiful, it's not actually there, is it? It's there, with some beautiful views of Dragon Fang. So we come across that canal. What was the canal called, Ruffle?
Darkenstone
Canal, the first canal, we think, on Indy. there, round and down to where Ruffle and Berris originally settled when Indy first opened here, and then we've wrapped across to this side, down and round to the north side of Dragon Fang, which is where we have just been. Where oh, hello troll. There's a troll behind us, Ruffle. Just
I was eating my fish fingers.
You're eating your fish. Oh yes, I made us fish fingers. I'm also going to eat some of my fish fingers once I kill that troll. So we've made it like halfway down. And as you can see, we're getting a little bit further away from Dragon Fang now, so you don't have to, whoops, you don't have to look up quite so much to see it, but you still kind of get crick in your neck. And this bit up here, is this Rockcliffe Cathedral way up here, this kind of spire? I've never actually been to the Rockcliffe Cathedral, and I kind of feel like I ought to.
I don't know. I feel like I should, but I don't know.
No, I don't know, and I kind of wonder if maybe now we should have gone up and had a look. What time are we on?
We're getting
well,
later.
How about we find somewhere to camp around here, and then the next time when we come back and do another stream here, before we carry on down, maybe we go up and have a look at the cathedral, because if neither of us have ever seen it, I kind of feel like we should.
Sounds good.
Now, we just want to find a nice little bit of coast with a nice grassy spot to settle our camp down that isn't on deed.
There is a campsite just out the front of Lyric Beach. If we can't find anywhere wild.
Okay, that's a possibility. Let's also, I think this here is all pretty solidly deeded. Yeah, and that down there looks all pretty managed as well. Let me just try wrapping up this way and see what's off the north end of this, but it's good to know that we've got a campsite nearby, if not.
A lot of it is created.
Yeah. Well, we are off deed here.
Ooh.
Just. So we're all in perimeter here. But we can't put tents down on somebody's perimeter, so that's still no good for us, but I'm just going to go and see what's around here, and maybe I'll wrap back round if not. So imagine, I mean, maybe that conversation would be helpful, for you. Because I think there are also a lot of people who, like you, have got merchants in Wurm or have tried to set up a market in Wurm and are just struggling to just kind of get it going. And there's maybe things to learn from those conversations as well that you haven't considered, or maybe that you have. Maybe it will just tell you things that you kind of already know. We're just crossing over the Black Dog Canal here. But I still think that those conversations are kind of worth having, because even when I'm talking about subjects that I know quite a lot about, I almost always learn new things in the course of those conversations.
Yes.
Thank you for the follow, Samwise. Now, are we still off deed here? Are we out of perimeter? We are out of perimeter. Are we going to stay out of perimeter if I just wrap around here? Yeah. How about this? Nice little grassy spot. Not in perimeter. We could set up a little camp and then wrap down for the night. That could work. Right. So we've got a little bit of grass here. That seems like as good a spot as any. So I'm not going to cook again because we've still got fishy fingers, but I am just going to pop a tent down, set up a nice little camp, and I think take this grape bush down, which is shriveled anyway. What was that?
Crab friend.
We got a crab friend. Oh no. Hopefully it's not going to come after us. I always feel bad about crabs. Like, I don't want to kill crabs, and I'm sad that they're aggressive. I'm like, no, crab friend, don't do it. So we've brought our glamping kits out. I shall also stop targeting that troll from back there. We've brought our glamping kits out so that we can set up nice little camps when we start and stop. Why is there a corpse of a goblin in my cart, Ruffle?
I don't know.
I didn't put it there.
I might have. I might have put it there.
We're just carrying around corpses now. Because of course we are. A snack for later, my dear.
I was going to butcher it, and then something else happened, and so I put it in the cart me to take it out again, and then forgot.
Mimas, what would it cost for me to decorate your castle from top to bottom? Oh, Mimas, it's not something that I would be able to do. Decorating does take a lot of time. And as much as I love decorating, I get exhausted even decorating my own stuff, so I've still got deeds of mine that I have not finished decorating, including bits of Brambleheim. But as you know, I do really enjoy decorating and kind of sharing decorating inspiration. And one of the things that I also thought I might do for a stream, I don't know if it will be sort of like in the next few weeks, but yeah, I thought I might do one about sort of ways to decorate stuff, like things that you can try. Here's inspiration that I took from stuff. Here's how to nest stuff together to make it look more than the sum of its parts. Because a lot of people enjoy the way that I've decorated my deeds. I obviously enjoy the way that I've decorated my deeds, and whenever I go talking about the ways I've like nested stuff together or things that I've done around my deeds, there's always people being like, oh my god, that's really cool, I want to be able to do that. So I think maybe sometime we should have a stream just talking about, like, ways to level up your decorating. Here's some things you might not have tried, and maybe I can learn some things too. That sounds like that would be cool. Oh, Dad. You worked out how to get 3 layers of small barrel racks today. Did you use my trick with the empty shelf? Because that's what I do with mine. I tend to layer 2 with 1 offset in the middle, set slightly forward from them, so that you get kind of like diagonal ones. And then if you slot an empty shelf in there, you can also put barrel racks on the empty shelves in the same configuration, except they are slightly higher. So that's how I do it. Right, what was I doing? Fancy glamper. Let's put this down. Where are we going to put it?
I removed the corpse from your cart.
Have you buried it?
Yes.
Good. Carrying a goblin corpse all this way. We're going to just pop a nice little tent down there, maybe? Thing about placing tents is wherever you think you're putting it, the game will move it because it has to centre them on a tile. There you go, and it bounced. That's all right. Going to pop my tent down. Pop a couple of other bits down, just make a nice little place to finish. I might even set a fire going because it's going to take me a little bit of time to wind down after the stream. But I'm not going to do a full decoration. Oh, look at that. That's a close fit, but that works. It works. No, it works. It's fine. You are fine.
I'll do it again.
For anybody who didn't see our didn't watch the stream right from the beginning, you won't have seen the camp that we set up at the start, which had a lot more time setting up, in fairness, than I'm about to have. But so things I would recommend if you're trying to make yourself a cozy little campsite.
Even closer.
You probably want to turn a couple of the grass tiles down to lawn, and if you don't know how to do that, lawn made off deed will turn back to normal grass very quickly. Lawn made on deed will stay lawn for a good long time. But in order to turn a grass tile into lawn, you want a sickle and you want to cut the grass, as I just have, which will get you mixed grass. And then there is a next stage where you want to use some scissors and you want to trim it. And then it will take all of that kind of higher kind of profile grass down, which means when you put stuff on it, you can see it, particularly low profile stuff, as I am soon to do. So did I?
Oh, goodness.
It was better the first time when there was only a tiny overlap. I don't even know what you did. I wonder, will it let me put my tent on a tree? If I move this over a little bit, maybe that will make it a bit easier for you. So if I just try like that, will it let me put it on a tree tile? Yeah, look, I've got a tree. No, now I've got a tree in my tent. Not sure that's better. Not sure that's better. Okay, I'm going to put it back.
Now placing our tents now.
No,
okay.
just gonna have a little race to see who gets there. No! Oh, you beat me to it, you sod. You stole my tent spot. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just gonna work around you. Memers, you are always welcome to ask me for advice on how to beautify stuff. But as I say, sometimes it is easier to show than tell. So I will also try and make sure that I do a stream sometime soon on things that you can do to decorate. There we go, that works. I mean, there's like, whoop! Oops, nobody saw that. So we're no, you didn't, shush. So they're at quite sharp right angles to one another, but that's okay. Pop our tents down. What else have I got? What else have I got? It is late, my dude. I just backed up a thing. See, it's not just Calvert that falls off stuff. What do we want? So I've got a fancy lantern. Oh, it's already in my inventory. Twit. Let's have a couple of these. I got extra stools and extra mugs because I was like, maybe someday we'll take an extra person on one of our glamping adventures, and I feel like they need to have somewhere to sit and a mug to drink out of. But mostly it just means I've got spares. So I don't want that, but I was going to eat.
Relax in my little nap spot while you're doing all
do
hard
that.
work.
Just going to eat my fishy fingers that I cooked us earlier. And I need... Is that a big enough wood scrap? It might not be. Let's have one of those. So let's just create a kindling. And I'm going to have to saw something to manufacture wood scrap. I'm going to make a plank, and then I'm going to throw the plank on the fire. And I'm sure that's going to make somebody wince. Let's make a plank. There we go. Right. So there are a couple of ways that you can make a campfire. I can't remember what the other one is. Can you just do it with like steel and flint and kindling? I don't know, but you can do it with a kindling on a wood scrap anyway. Or is it a wood scrap and a wood scrap? I don't know. I don't often make them, as you might be able to tell. Now, I like your little apple on the ground. That's cute. Now, oh, you got me one too. Third time lucky. Now, a campfire will spawn kind of in front of you where you are. So there's I still haven't quite got the placement right. Where I think I'm
on fire as a finale.
Where I think I'm putting the campfire and where it actually appears. Hopefully this will put it far enough away from the tents, because sometimes I drop a campfire down and it's like halfway in my tent and I'm like, whoops. So where does it go? Oh, failed. Let's try that one again. That's not going to be enough kindling now, so I'm just going to... Will it let me combine those? Will it? Yes. Eating them cold. Well, you don't like my cold fish fingers. Sometimes it's just got to do. I suppose I could have heated them back up over the fire, but, you know, that's more dedication than I can manage at...
Like fun.
midnight. Good night, Bun. We are wrapping up now anyway, so you're not going to miss much. Okay, so there we go. For future reference, future Crim needs to remember, it spawns from your feet outwards. Did I get it right? How's that? That's pretty good.
I'm not on fire, so
that's pretty good placement. That is pretty good placement, and let's just throw that stuff on. Keep it going for a little while. Don't throw the stools on, Crim. Don't do that. For anybody who missed the start of the stream as well, lovely little discovery I made. If you've never used campfires, they will show some of the items that you put on them. So for example, if you pop a teapot on it, you'll see that the model changes, and I think it's adorable. See? And now we've got a little teapot and a grill on there. So cute. For your, you know, your cozy camping vibes. Right. So I'm just going to pop that down. Drop. Oh no!
None of you get the view that I do, which is hilarious.
Which is just me disappearing, like, it's like one of those, like, somebody pretending to walk downstairs. I just, like, slide down into the terrain.
He was like, boo!
Hello.
Yeah, I'm still not awake properly, Visa. Oh, now I think the stools face south, do they? Nope. Nope, got it wrong. You know, I really like my buck chucks. That was a good one. Right. I never get the placement of these the right way around the first time. Always get it wrong. I should start second guessing myself and try and do the opposite of the way I think it has to go.
The benefit of an armchair, you can kind of see where it's going to go.
Did I get it right this time? How did I still get it wrong? How did I still get it wrong?
If you don't want to talk to me, that's fine.
Right, third time lucky, folks. Is it? I swear that's the way I did it first time. No, apparently not. Okay, so for future reference, for anybody trying to place their stools right first time, I was gonna say they always point south, but actually they don't. I don't know where they stand. I'm not going to get my barrel and all my extra stuff out, but what I am going to do is just for ambience, let's light the lantern and pop that down because it's cute. It's cute. Could always do with a little bit of extra light. So there we are. We've set up our cozy little camp at the
This
end
is
of our
normally
trip.
my faux priest chair for Sampo's. I can't remember who it was that I first saw sitting in an armchair at Sampo.
But you thought that was a brilliant idea, and you wanted to.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I need one of those.
Yeah. Nice. So we're going to wrap it up there, folks. So thank you to those of you who have either been with us throughout Crim sitting on the naughty stall. Rude. This is a beautiful stall. I made it myself. Thank you for those of you who have either been with us the whole time or popped in partway through and just joined us for a little bit. It's been really lovely hanging out with you all. We are halfway down Independence, and at some point soon, maybe next month, Ruffle and I will come back and set up our camp here again and go and carry on our adventures, exploring a little bit more of Independence, starting with the Rockcliffe Cathedral, or what we think is the Rockcliffe Cathedral, because neither of us have ever been, and we'll take it from there. So
thank you very much, everyone.
lovely to see you all. I'm just going to switch to my cooldown screen because I love markets and I keep trying to feature them. I did, however, fail miserably to get any of the other indie markets prepped and ready in time for this stream, except for the Freedom Market. So I'm afraid that's the one we've got. But as we have talked quite a bit about Dragon Fang, Freedom Market is a little marketplace, a very long-standing marketplace, which is sort of halfway up the mountainside towards Dragon Fang. It is also a portal town, so you can portal directly into it from anywhere. Go and have a look. It is a community market, so it's lots of different players have merchants there. And I think Ruffle mentioned earlier in her early days on Independence, sometimes the only time she would venture off her deed sometimes was to travel across to the Freedom Market to go and have a rummage on the merchants there. So there's that one for you. I've got map coordinates there, but as I say, you can just portal right in if you're interested and you want to go and have a look. You leave my glove alone, Madoon. Right. Good night, everybody. Good night, Mimas. Good night, Samwise. Good night, Madoon and Galandria. I know Bun's already gone. And goodbye to anybody else who is still lurking in chat. We'll catch you another time. And good night, Ruffle. Thank you for the apple and for the company. We'll see you later, guys.